Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day 2 of the Chinese Contenders playoffs. My name is Dorian. I'm joined by the wonderful Kenobi for all of today's proceedings. And boy, do we have some good matches for you. We're coming out of the lower bracket. It's time to kick it off. These teams, it is do or die for them. And Kenobi, I couldn't be more excited.
All or nothing door for these teams. I mean, which teams are going to continue their run through that losers bracket, and which teams are going to unfortunately have their season end here, and also their careers in Overwatch 1. And we have to remember that this is the last Chinese Contenders season we're going to see on Overwatch 1. But let's look at it a little bit as to how we got here. Door Up Academy 3-0 in Courage. Time Resume 3-1 in T1W, so they fall to the lowers bracket, and then kind of what we expected with Team Chaser and Billy Gaming kind of being the big brothers of this bracket and sending Up Academy and Time Resume down here as well. So we have some, I would say, much closer matches I would expect than what we had yesterday.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised yesterday to see Team Chaser 3-0 Up Academy. I think I speak for all. I don't think anybody actually predicted 3-0.
It was pretty close. It was pretty close. Yeah, I think that scoreline isn't indicative of how the series went.
The classic 3-0, but you know, esports special. Yeah. We've all been there. But the couple of games that we'll have today are definitely going to be close, and I'm sure Up Academy are really feeding for their opportunity to get back at those top-tier teams. Courage and Time Resume are going to kick us off, though. And for both these teams, it has been a wild end of the season, right? You've got Courage who come into playoffs who we haven't gotten to see on the English broadcast or trying to make their mark. If there is a team they could punch up against, it probably would be Time Resume or T1W. So it's the best chance they're going to get to really make their mark in the season. And like you said, their last chance to make a mark before Overwatch 2.
Yeah, and Courage, I mean, has been a team that, again, you talked about we haven't seen too much of. Time Resume, though, has been incredibly shocking to me as just, like, how good
really
they
strong,
are.
Yeah.
Really coming out of nowhere, I think, Time Resume, and being a team that definitely can make something happen feels like a little bit Cinderella-esque from them. And at the bottom, in our second game, we have T1W versus Up Academy, which is going to be a bloodbath. That game should realistically be the best game that we have today.
And it's crazy because T1W, you just never know what you're going to get, right? It is a bag of bags, and now we get to our predictions, which, honestly, the coin was looking pretty good yesterday at predicting scorelines. Yeah. We'll see how it goes today. I've ended up with Courage winning 3-2, which could be a fun outcome.
I mean, if 3-2 happens, then, like, keep that coin in, like, a very safe place in your, like, just use it for luck all the time. If ever you need to, like, do something where you flip a coin, just use that coin to your advantage. It'll be a fun party trick. But I think, like, I mean, if there is a series that I think does flip-flop, it probably is going to be the one at the top. I think T1W, unfortunately, I just believe in the curse of T1W. It's like the curse of the Bambino, for those who know baseball, right? You never win and you have to break it somehow, but
they get to playoffs, they just get the yips, man. Like, yeah, there's something about it.
I mean, we saw it yesterday, just how just disjointed they looked, and a team that we think has, like, a really breadth of talent on their roster. Like, we saw Physics try and hard carry as best as he could, but just wasn't able to do so because the team was so disjointed. So that matchup is definitely going to be interesting because we know Up Academy to be a team that's very good in terms of their coordination. They move as 6 and a little bit less of a disjointed team as the T1W. But we got to talk about Courage versus Time Resume and Door. I think when I look at Courage, it was a team that we hadn't seen too much of. We saw them a little bit yesterday, got 3-0'd, but they definitely had some bright spots.
Yeah, if I'm looking at this roster, we saw, I think, one person in each role really start to shine. Lazy Yang really came in and impressed. While we were looking at A's, it really was Lazy Yang knocking it up. Taiji looked, I think, the best on the team. That Ana was genuinely contesting virtually every other Ana that they've had to play up against, and I want to see more of it in the future. Kiwa also, I think, deserves a little bit of credit. Really smart Winston play, and I would love to see more of those intelligent counter dives that we got to see a bit of yesterday. And who knows, maybe they can put a bit of a scratch in the armor of Time Resume here, who have also been looking absolutely incredible with their roster.
Yeah, I mean, Time Resume also has, like, kind of this thing where it's like they have a carry player, kind of, quote-unquote, on, like, every part of their roster. And for me, it's got to be, if we just look at all of them overall, Xiaolian looks phenomenal on whatever DPS he's on. The Tracer play that we saw yesterday from Xiaolian, clutching out with, like, double pulse bombs, clutching out with, like, mercy kills during res. Like, this guy has such a clutch gene that it really brought Time Resume to win that first matchup, but unfortunately weren't able to duke it out against let's say, much better team in that winner's side. I believe they played Billy Gaming, if I'm not mistaken, or it was the other way around. They played Team Chaser. Not sure. Can't see the bracket in my head. But I think overall, when I look at this team, realistically, it's one of those teams in Chinese Contenders where it's like Xiaolian's going to be the one to pop off. But everywhere else, Dor, not bad players.
No, Mighty Lord's been doing an excellent job, and POV's peel for Mighty Lord really gave them a lot of space to play with, right? You were talking about going up against the likes of T1W with pressure and Night God popping off time and time again. It really was POV who limited that and made sure it didn't get too bad. Another highlight for this team, not on the screen right now. Acheon does play excellently on the Winston, don't get me wrong here, but Mocha's Wrecking Ball really came in and cleaned house, and that's the roster I feel like this team shines extremely well with. Acheon does good stuff, but it feels like the coordination is a little bit more off when he's in.
Yeah, and the thing about Acheon is it feels like this team for Time Resume, they realistically, like always, when they want to play Winston, that means that Acheon is in. When they want to play that ball, that's when Mocha goes in. So they are a little bit rigid, I think, in terms of how they want to play, because Winston, I would say, isn't as necessarily viable in like every situation in terms of flexibility than like Ball. Ball you can kind of get away with playing almost anywhere, it feels like, so it gives them a little bit more credence to like switch it up and switch up how they play. But Winston's kind of just like, you really have to give what the map take what the map gives you, so to speak. So for Nepal as our first map, that means we're going to be seeing Acheon in. That means we're going to see most likely Winston. If we do see the ball, that'd be a bit scary for me, because that should be Mocha's job. Mocha's the one who plays ball, and they look so good when Mocha's on that hero.
Yeah, I'm actually curious whether or not we actually see anything other than the Winston, because, you know, Nepal, pretty varied map. You can get away with the Winston here, but Courage are going to give us a different look on their own, and Lazying's already bringing out a Pharah, which I'm pretty excited about, because you get Xiaolian, who is basically 2v1ing Pharahs on Tracer yesterday. I think they're going to have met their match, that's for sure.
Yeah, and we see Time Resume actually going to be opting in for kind of this Dallas Fuel style of dive composition where you got those rush supports that you can just like slam onto someone in that backline. And if Taija is going to be opting in for this Ana, I'm a little bit worried because there isn't a lot of peel in this composition from Courage to keep Taija alive. You really are going to be relying just solely on bubbles, and you don't have something like a D.Va to just eat the damage coming in from Time Resume. Going to be looking at Kiwa to actually be there to counter the dives, and actually very smart from Courage at the start here.
I love this.
They hit Tab, they know what Courage is running, and they're going to, Tab is the most OP button in the game. Let me tell you, this is now an anti-dive composition from Courage, and I love this decision right here.
Good swaps by Princess, and you know, I'll give credit to Taija, right? That is basically a 100% guaranteed sleep dart as far as we're concerned. But still, you do want something to back it up. Xiaolian's looking around the back line now. As we get started with the match, our first fight's just about ready to break out. Zarya caught out of position here for Courage, but Time Resume not able to punish it. Lazying with great peel on the backline, though, takes down Acheon that is traded for the Ana. Time Resume looking good after the main support goes down, and they're going to be taking away the first fight.
And actually, like, while Courage has made a lot of good decisions here in terms of their swapping, I really, to, like, put the cherry on top of this, would have loved to have seen a D.Va here, because I think D.Va would be so good at keeping Taija alive, because, again, realistically, you only have that one bubble to realistically keep Taija in those fights, and Taija going down early means you lose so much healing on this comp for Courage, so... Courage
that'll stop people from diving.
The Reaper, yeah, it's going to be just shotguns in your face is going to be hard, and now Taija's going to be coming up on that nano boost. You can throw that onto Kiwa, get a lot of value, and create a lot of space going forward with that monkey.
Yeah, but you got to avoid the CMP. Hell of a dand. Up and over top, catches all six members.
Man.
It's free. Woo-hoo! The follow-up from the Xiaolian. That is what we wanted to see starting the day off.
I mean, that's just classic Time Resume right there. Xiaolian hitting multiple members with a pulse bomb. What more could you ask for there? And Courage have to reset 60% and ticking up for Time Resume here. And Time Resume rotating this so well in terms of their ultimates. They win that fight just by EMP and that pulse bomb. Coming into this next fight, you're going to have your sound barrier, going to have your coalescence as well, so a lot of sustainability. Courage has to chew through a lot of health bars here.
Yeah, double support ultimate versus Nano is, I mean, it's a very, very, very winnable fight to say the very least. He was in, though. Used the nano boost to make a lot of space. He's doing a great job of holding them off. Courage effectively turtle up in the small room. Wait out the ultimates of Time Resume, who are trying to aggress onto them, and now it's Courage's turn. Popping the rally. They're in. Sound barrier out from Time Resume, and it's all the support ultimates being laid out on the field. The kill should be coming in just a second. It's the Molten Core giving space to Courage, though, but he can't avoid the bomb. Trade out for Xiaolian, though. That's one I'd be more than happy to take if I'm Time Resume. Now another player over to Courage. Things slow down for just a moment as Courage look to drop onto the point. Holobadan trying to peel for the back line, but can't stop Tick from going over.
But Taisha is down, and that means the Princess is the only one here, and if Time Resume can recoup quickly, they can come back in and try and engage here if they'd like, and you can see Princess and KKO are trying to find where that Sombra is because they know the Sombra has EMP at this point.
And at 99%, that's a really tough spot to be. EMP doesn't catch much of anything, though. Lazy Yang's traded out for POV, and now Courage gets to make the move back in with the Graviton. It's looking fantastic for them as the Monkey's down to half HP. Diva's running out of defense matrix, but Time Resume aren't out of gas yet. Xiaolian again! A big pick with a pulse bomb. This man can do no wrong.
Xiaolian might have 100%, I mean, well, does, not even, might,
yeah,
has
it's not a
100%
might.
stick rate right now with these pulse bombs, and Time Resume gonna flip this one back over. Just desperation swaps here for Courage to try and get someone to this point to proc overtime. They won't be able to do so. That's gonna be Time Resume with a win, utilizing this dive comp, playing so fast and aggressively there, and also love what they did, Dor, in terms of rotating those ultimates. That's what you gotta do in a composition like this and on control. Rotate those ultimates effectively and let that really give you an advantage in every single fight.
And that really worries me. I mean, Courage swapped every feasible hero to try and counter that composition, and it didn't work.
Yeah. I really would have liked to have seen the Diva. That would have been like the one thing that I think really could have like taken that composition over the top, but you're right, like they switched the Reaper, the Cowboy, the Torbjorn, anti-dive, anti-flanker composition all the way across the board. Still didn't end up working out for them. So Courage need to go back to the drawing board, it feels like a little bit. Time Resume, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're going to stick with the same thing here. I would expect A's to maybe... Okay, so it's going to be the Tracer. So this isn't as anti-dive, but they do have some range advantage with Lazy Yang going to be on this Hanzo. They can potentially get a pick by just poking from afar and letting A's kind of go on those flanks and try and create a crossfire of some sort.
Yeah, and I love the high ground for Courage, right? Because Time Resume, with the 6-man composition that they're running, really struggle to get up there, right? If your Winston jumps, the Moira can't go to help, the Lucio can maybe go to help, but the resources being given over to your main tank are fairly few, so there's almost nothing to stop Courage from just poking away up here, and if Lazy Yang catches an arrow to somebody's dome, all of a sudden you're looking at a very different fight. The push does start, though, and Time Resume tick over the point, and now start to make the move. Backing away, though. Sleep does connect with Taisha, trying to reset the health bars before going in here, but they haven't found the opening that they're looking for. None of these arrows are connecting, and now the Time Resume take the point over. They can afford to back away. Courage have to make the push forward. They have to leave that high ground they've been calling home. Yeah,
look at those support ultimates for Time Resume. They're so close to being ready. The sustainability is going to be here for Time Resume in this next fight, Dor.
That's problematic. Nano Boost is onto the Winston, though, and it might just be enough to actually stop this. Interrupts the Coalescence, and does POV want to commit the sound barrier to this is the big question. Absolutely he will. He says, I want a piece of that. Courage goes down another member, and Time Resume are pushed over to the edge by the commitment of POV.
And with the Primal Rage here, there's still some sustainability from Courage, but you see Xiaolian is actually taking it to Taisha right now, pressuring them away, doesn't want them to continuously heal the team. Oh no, Xiaolian. That one's not going to be going on the highlight reel.
I mean, it's kind of a mouthful of whip shot. Remember, the point does belong to Time Resume. Within all this, and pressure eats the grab. Oh no, that's a tilter for Courage. They're still in with the Dragon, though. It's not quite over, as Courage did use their support ultimates. That's to rally out now, and they'll try to group up onto point. Give themselves a new shot at this one. Lazy Yang looks to find the picks to finish this off, and it will go in their favor, but not quite the way they wanted it to.
I mean, the damage has realistically already been done here for Time Resume. They've gotten a lot of percentage off of just this first fight that they had. They got control of the point, knowing that there is some range disadvantage that they have, so if they play on point, they can kind of use the geometry of the map to their advantage, and Courage weren't able to juggle it at the start, and it snowballed there, and for Time Resume coming back into this, gonna have a Pulse Bomb. We know Xiaolian incredibly impactful with those, most likely gonna be going to one of the supports in that backline, and if they really need to, the tank ultimates are online as well.
I mean, that's like a guaranteed kill, right? You're fighting a 5v6. There it is. It's not a question anymore, Kenobi. Xiaolian just gets the ability. It's point and click. It's not even a skill shot at this point. Like, it's too free.
Too free, and actually, I mean, Time Resume going to be using the Primal Rage. In a perfect world with hindsight 2020, maybe would have liked to have kept that one, but
we're nitpicking at that point.
Totally fine. Yeah, we're nitpicking. I mean, with how good Time Resume is playing, we're really finding things to like be upset about them for, because they've been playing this extremely well. In this next fight as well, EMP is going to be on the board. Courage don't have anything realistically to stop it in terms of their defensive ultimates.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough position. Time Resume are playing it excellently, right? Buying as much time as they can. Pull of it then from the side lane. EMP is just the Winston, but it stops the Primal from going off. That was incredibly high value for him, and they'll follow it up with a second one. There's not a tank in sight here for Courage. It looks like this is how they go out. 99% the point ticking over, but it is just a Tracer and A's. You are good, but I don't know if you're 1v6 good.
I mean, I'm loving the macro decisions that I'm seeing from Time Resume here, specifically Holividan with the EMPs and how the rest of the team is playing around it. Like, this was a masterclass of how to play ultimate macro rotation style effectively here, and Time Resume can be taking a win, I'd say rather convincingly against Courage on that first map. Kind of what we expected to a degree, because Courage is kind of that outlier team that we haven't seen too much of. Time Resume, we have a little bit more, I think, stock in, stonk's going up for Time Resume really fast, actually, with how they've been playing so far. But all in all, Time Resume played their composition, played it extremely well, and they're going to take a 1-0 lead.
You know what's crazy? I mean, looking at this team, we're starting to get a lot of teams that are playing very similarly in Chinese Contenders, right? You look at Billy, the solid team-oriented style that they have, and then you see Up kind of following that same vein. And now with Time Resume, it feels like they are right there with them, right? Extremely coordinated Overwatch, but they still have that star DPS style that Chinese Contenders has always been known for, and Jialian has filled the role amazingly for them.
Yeah, kind of coming out of nowhere as well, because like this is a region with a lot of really good Tracer players, right? There are like you have Billy, who has two of like the best ones, probably in Pineapple and in Pineapple and in Alpha E. We have a Prita, who's potentially the best Tracer in the region overall, and then Xiaoyan's coming out of nowhere.
Potentially?
I think he's I don't know. He is. Yeah, okay, let's say he is. But I think Xiaoyan has come in and like kind of starting to get towards like being etched into that Mount Rushmore that we see of like Chinese Contenders Tracers in this region, because what he's been doing so far in these playoffs, in the split that we saw them in the last time, definitely starting to really put on a great performance.
Yeah, and I mean, looking overall at what does this mean for Time Resume, right? We saw them last week, we see them in playoffs. What is good for them? What is great for them? What placement can they look at? Because for me, I think after watching last week, this match is where I expected them to make it. If they can win this and then beat the winner of T1W versus Up following it, we're into like great, incredible season territory where like next season you are a real top contender. Who knows, man? Maybe they can keep up this performance, but there's a lot of stuff in their way, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it, because there's still plenty of change to be had, plenty of coaching to be done. With the level that they've improved at the point that they are right now, they're so coordinated. Like you mentioned, the ults have been looking amazing for them, and they've kind of got all the pieces you could ask for, right? We talk about how Billy doesn't really need Pineapple and Alpha E to pop off all that much, and then on the other end of the scale, you've got Team Chaser, who have a Prita, who is basically the biggest thing on that team, and then you follow that up with like Up, who are in the middle, who have DPS who like can pop off, but are mostly coordinated. I feel like this team, Time Resume, strikes the best balance of those. And if they can just continue to grow in the same vertical that they are right now, I think they're going to be in a great place.
I think so too, and even like just winning this, I think winning this series, if they continue to do so, play this well, and do end up winning over Courage, anything can happen, obviously, as we go to Temple of Anubis as our next map. But I think that's still a success for a team that is the 5th seed that we realistically didn't expect much of coming into the season. Like, I looked at this roster coming in, it was a roster of players that had like not really been around Chinese Contenders that much in a narrative capacity in any way, and now they're coming in, they're getting like pretty good performances in these playoffs, and for Time Resume now, like everything else is gravy if you win this series, I think. But they can continuously go forward and make some noise. I think they are definitely the Cinderella of this bracket.
Yeah, Time Resume and Courage, I mean, honestly, both of them, because, you look at this team and they've got some star players on them. This is where you really make a case for Overwatch League as well. Even the teams that aren't finishing in first, second, third, there's absolutely spots on these teams. Teams are not just picking from the top teams, they're picking from the best players. They're trialing them. And matches like these and performances like Time Resume are putting up right now are what get you those trial spots on OWL teams. And they'll start off the push, making a case for it themselves. Xiao Lian harassing the opposing Tracer, though, and zoning him out for the time being. It's Courage line up in the Mega Room. Not much space being gained, though. It's just poke, and as the Anas get up towards their Nano Boost, that's what we really want to watch.
Yeah, and we're seeing actually Dynamites coming in from Time Resume. That means there is a lot of spam and a lot of ability for this Ana to heal and potentially get over Mighty Lord, but Mighty Lord actually is in a really good position now with the dive coming in towards that Nano.
Yeah, the Nano's gotten really close, but it cost him a lot. Acheon had one misused cooldown or got a little bit too far forward at one point and had to jump backwards, but Courage will equalize by overextending in their own right, forcing him back, and now the Tracer comes in. Jialian from the backside catches out a sleeping A's. I think you just gotta wait this one out. Even with the nanos online, there's no real need. Time Resume are the ones who are gonna be taking the brunt of the force, though, as the nano boost is in onto Kiwa, and there's the sleep they were looking for. Virtually the nano completely shut down. Kiwa's dead as could be. There's no way this monkey gets out. Followed up with one more from Jiao Lian, and there's just no contesting this team right now.
I mean, the other thing about that is that sleep was so important because Kiwa was going to get Primal Rage if he was alive to get that damage down, and then you can continue to snowball those ultimates. But because that sleep happens, Kiwa does not get Primal Rage and cannot continue to rotate those ultimates effectively. And now Time Resume is in a great position in their defense with Courage coming in with a lot of ultimates to their name, and here comes another dive.
Dive looks good, but I mean, what kind of teeth does it actually have to it is the question. Courage pushed in with a Graviton Surge, and somehow this Zarya is alive. It is a miracle for Time Resume. The pocket from Mighty Lord is amazing. It actually makes sure that KK goes down. Kiwa is able to trade it out for 2, though, as Lazying with a duplicate on the ground is nearing a Graviton Surge of their own they can throw in to really make this point surge.
And I think that should be it for Courage, especially with the respawns they're going to be having right here. And with Acheon going down, there is just nothing left. And I think that was a pretty good dive coming in from Courage, all things considered. They get into the back line, and then they grab 3 members by KKO. Now they can start moving forward into that second point with these. I mean, they don't have any snowball ultimates. That's the unfortunate thing for them. They had to use basically everything to win that fight. So don't have the ability to snowball, and we're actually going to see some swaps coming in from them to basically guarantee that point that this is just going to be a couple of, I think, dry pushes. Okay, the Genji is interesting.
I'm here for
GT
it.
Dive here. Yeah, I mean, let's go. It's Chinese Contenders. Let's see some GT dive.
Look, it wouldn't be Chinese Contenders if they didn't get some Genji in the playoffs. Time Resume, though, are moving in with support ultimates here, and they would love nothing more than to save the rally of POV. It's a clear win for them because Courage didn't need to use any of their ultimates. They didn't really have any going into this fight, but the question is, how much can Time Resume actually save?
Oh, Taija committing the nano to that fight is a decision that I don't know if I necessarily agree with, because you want to have that ultimate to go back in and create space when you come into this next fight, especially because Time Resume had already used their nano.
It already, got 1-2 picks.
There was really no reason from a macro perspective to use that unless you're going to switch, which could be something that potentially we see, but no. So that's just, I think, a little bit of a blunder coming in from Taija, and Time Resume will be saying thank you very much. We'll take a little bit of a tempo advantage here because we have our support ultimates again. Mighty Lord has another nano, just used it in that last fight.
I mean, that's what you get for delaying that fight, right? Giving them all the staggers that they really asked for. Now Courage have virtually nothing of their own. I think the worst part of it for me is the fact that Lazyang and Taija are pretty desynced in terms of their ultimate. Lazyang's going to come up with it first, and you don't really want to go into a fight with just Nano Blade. You'd like something to follow up for it on 2CT, especially when there's a Brig on the other side who can just pop Rally and make your life hell. Time Resume are going to take the engagement, though, and try and win the fight beforehand, popping just a Nano Boost to get themselves into the backline. This may be a little bit too much sauce. Acheon getting burnt down, pops a Primal, gives him a little bit more life to work with, but the health bar still drops low, just makes it back to the spot. No! Ace finishes him off, and now it's Courage's turn. Blade is out. There's not a nano for this. It is just immediately rallied. That is the saddest thing I've seen in a long time. Time Resume are going to hold.
Oh, and Courage, please, I would like you to see not use any more ultimates here in this scenario. I mean, actually, the kills are coming back and forth. There's a potential here. Nano committed from Taija, but still, like,
it's
the
panic.
problem has been for Courage is that these are all ultimates of hope, is what I like to call them, where it's like you think, hope beyond hope that you can win fights with these ultimates. That's English by the caster, by the way.
Yeah, definitely.
You can win
Good
fights like this with just using ultimates that are just desperation ults right there, like that, right? So for Time Resume, they're just basically saying, okay, if you want to commit, we have respawn advantage. It's Anubis second. Like, realistically, we have an advantage unless you're getting so many kills. And Courage just keep buying back into these fights where that are already basically lost.
Yeah, I mean, with the Blade out, the Nano didn't do much of anything. Courage have another chance at this. This is tough, though. Time Resume are going to take the aggressive push, almost definitely here. Just, you know Jiao Lian is coming somewhere with a pulse bomb. The question is really just a matter of where. Sitting in the top left here. He's got supports in his sights. Acheon going in for the dive, makes an aggressive push, and there's no need for anything else. Mighty Lord pops that nano boost. Has another one, by the way. Just in case we needed to remind ourselves how good this Ana is.
Mighty Lord has been farming these incredibly quickly, and Courage still trying. Oh my god, Lazy Yang just pummels Jiao Lian, and this might be an opening for Courage here, Dor.
It's problematic for them, but they don't have the clearest way in. They've got to make their way onto this point quickly and jump onto these supports while that Tracer is gone, because there's not going to be a way back in after that. Kiwa tries, but there's nobody else to help him out. Acheon equalizes. Mighty Lord's back in, and the fight already rolling back in Time Resume's favor, not to mention the ultimates.
Yeah, And Courage, I mean, have swapped over to this Doomfist, and now Xiaolian's actually going to be... That feels like a tilt swap, where it's just like, I just got punched as Tracer, I want to play some Doomfist now, and see what that feels like. That's kind of what I think is the mindset of Xiaolian here. But Courage, and coming back into this, 48 seconds. By the time they get to this fight, they'll probably be at 30 seconds, and then this is last fight territory for them. So they got to use everything in their bank. Luckily, have Gravitz on Surge. They're going to have a rally to move forward. But Time Resume Mighty Lord, I mean, has a nano. It's basically a cooldown ability for them.
It's absurd. Courage, though, I mean, the problem for me is I just don't see a combo here. Right? They don't even have Space Jam up. Maybe Lazy Yang can get it charged, but at the ranges that Time Resume are playing at, it's really hard to do anything more than just passive charge when you're playing on the Doomfist right now. We'll pop up to 80% as they get poke in with the Nano Boost, and I swear I've seen this situation now, but a couple of fights ago. A's popping that. Not much found from the Deadeye for the Cowboy. Time Resume have locked them in the side room, but they've run really low on ultimates. The rally was out. The Nano Boost is out. This is Courage's opportunity. In comes the Doomfist. Kiwa's going to be making the dive in just a second as they wrap around onto the Ana. Not too much damage done, and somehow Time Resume kept the supports both alive. Brig even manages to get out. Lazy Yang's down, and Courage, despite the best efforts, are not cleanly won this one yet. Mighty Lord being pushed away by the main tank. Kiwa doing an excellent job with his Primal Rage, making sure that Time Resume get no healing, but the Mighty Yang sleep connects every single time. Courage are not done with this fight yet. There will be a dive back in just a second, or will there? The clean goes over, or the point goes over cleanly. But after 2 takes, Time Resume set packing in overtime.
That fight looks so scary, but Taija at the very end, I mean, we talked about how good this Ana player was, hits a huge nade onto that back line, and the rest of Courage follows up extremely well against it, and a nice primal reach from Kiwa, I gotta say, to basically zone out the supports away from being able to heal anyone from Time Resume. So Courage, after a bit of a tough time attacking, they still managed to end up with 2 points. They will be able to get that second life if Time Resume finishes with less than a minute in their time bank. But, I mean, for Courage, realistically, this is still a tall mountain to climb. Time Resume looks so good, especially on offenses on Anubis. So we'll see if Courage can mount such a defense that would stop Time Resume from getting to the second point.
I mean, if I was them, I would be thanking my lucky stars, right? That fight was one that Time Resume had a huge advantage in. That was the first time we've seen Time Resume make a major mistake, right? That was a fight that they should have won, and it's just showing that there are weaknesses here for Courage to try and take advantage of. And they'll get to do it on the defensive side. This is a great map for trying to get some time off on the point A, right? We kind of do see two very dichotomous, juxtaposed point A's very often on this map, and if they can rip away a lot of that time bank, all of a sudden that point B looks a lot more possible. But for me, I don't think I see this hold happening without a good start.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Courage is going to be opting for the Mercy on the defense. It is because you have Lazy Yang, and also I think it's fine because you get that kind of get out of jail free card if someone does end up getting caught in the sights of Halivadan or something like that. So definitely don't hate this instead of something like a Brigitte here. But Time Resume, I think, will play this a little bit more slowly. Well, never mind, Lazy Yang's actually just going to melt Xiaolian right there, and now they have to play it a little bit more slowly because they don't have their Tracer with them, and I think they will wait for a Nano Boost and then try and push forward. But now Taija is in such an advantage, especially with Kiwa getting out. Look at how much Taija is going to get of Nano Charge.
It's absurd. I mean, ahead by 30%. This is the biggest gap I think we've ever seen anybody take within Chinese contenders. It's mostly because Kiwa and KK's positioning has been so good. They've pushed their health bars to the brink. Borderline, you know, messing up, but they're not dead yet, so I suppose it is just good play. To their credit, it has gotten this Nano Boost absurdly quickly for Taija. Immediately used to pop in. Pressure's in a rough position here. They could be collapsed on, but does manage to get out with
he
the
doesn't have
sleep of
primal.
Mighty Lord. No primal to get him out, and with A's down, it's a push looking great for Time Resume. Popping the bomb on point now. The push begins. They solidify the hold halfway down the point. Courage can do nothing but back away, and Xiaolian, I really think they would love to hold this pulse bomb, honestly, for point B. It could be such a good snowball.
I would be so upset if I was Kiwa this match. It seems like every time you're primaling or nano boosting into that backline, Mighty Lord is right there with the sleep, and Courage used most of the ultimates in that fight. Time Resume realistically only used their Bob. They don't have everything else with the ability to snowball this, and Courage, they're going to have a Pulse Bomb, they're going to have a Valk and a Primal Rage, but Time Resume can very easily win this with a Nano Boost onto Akion that can transition over into a Primal Rage, and they have that sustainability to take this fight.
I'm really curious to see if we actually get a grab combo. Xiaolian not one to hold their pulse bombs most of the time, and with that pick on the pressure, I suppose they probably will for a bit longer. Ace pops one of his own. Xiaolian somehow manages to find an Ana in the midst of all of this. Time Resume actually have a res. Wait a minute, where's this push coming from? There's a Tracer on point, Xiaolian. Pulse Bomb doesn't toss it onto the Zarya quite yet, just waiting for the rest of the team to get back with them. They know pressure is close to the Graviton of their own. They can just keep the pressure on the point here. Time Resume will be in a good position when they get back. Now hunting down for Anana, can't find him, and in the meantime, Lazy Yang's in the back line. This fight is all kinds of scrappy.
Yeah, this fight is all over the place, but it looks like it's completely going to be Time Resume losing this one eventually. And Courage did use a lot in their ultimate economy from that last fight door, and look at Time Resume. They're looking pretty good with theirs. They kept their Graviton Surge, kept their Pulse, going to have Bob. This is going to be a very scary position for Courage to defend, especially making this a 7v6 with the Bob and having Graviton, Surge, and Pulse Bomb layered on top of that. If Time Resume just crosses their T's and dots their I's, they should have this one. And they already have a tick. That's the big point.
This is such a hard fight for Courage to win. There are so many ultimates about to come their way. A nice combo is just, I mean, perfectly set up. You could not lay this on a silver platter better for Time Resume. Yet the dive comes in from Courage. I like the proactive move out of him, but they haven't quite found the pick they're looking for yet. Lazy Yang separated away from Kiwa. The dive got a little discombobulated here, and that's the opening that Time Resume need. Chuck the Graviton in, it's onto 2. They don't even need the Pulse Bomb to follow up onto that one. Ekion still does have a Primal should this get bad, but I don't think it's getting that way. Courage made one misstep in the dive, and Time Resume immediately capitalized.
Yeah, and I don't know if Courage can even get members onto this point, and they can. That just means that Time Resume, the win condition is set for them 3.5 minutes in their time bank to get one tick on point B Anubis, and with how quickly it went, I'd be scared if I was in Courage's position here.
How do you hold this point A for so long? They can charge up ultimates, they can play for an EMP. There's so many options for Time Resume, and I'd honestly be happy if we got to see any of them. I'm really curious what's going on in chat. If anybody wants to translate that, you're more than welcome to. But I mean, that's the level that Time Resume's at. Is you know, I think they are at the level of an up a Billy team play wise, where you can't just make a mistake against them and get away with it. Courage made an excellent dive. I love the proactivity. The nano boost came out. They were on the same target initially. Things got a little bunged up. In the second they were on different targets, the second they were split up, even by like a couple meters, Time Resume were just killing everything. It was over at that point.
And that's the thing with Time Resume, right? Where it's like, if it gets into the mid fight where like there's like a lot of chaos and a lot of hectic moments, like Time Resume thrives in that just because they have Xiaolian, who can kind of play for himself, but it seems like they're always on the perfect target when it comes to just their target selection and play as a team. And as we're seeing Time Resume, I don't think Akion's going to be sticking on this Hammond. I think that's going to be the Winston instead. And I
do it.
No, there's no way. There's no way. We're in APAC.
Yeah.
We don't play Reinhardt.
I've never heard of that
play
hero.
Reinhardt here. The only time that we play Reinhardt is when it's Control Center Lijiang, where it's like we have to. Like there's
you
no
really gotta
other
force
way.
the hand, yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have that
hero. It
hero
has to be the
unlocked
best thing. It has to be the best thing on the map, or else we don't play it.
All right, Courage. A monstrous hold is required here. Time Resume taking the fight front to back though. This is getting a little bit aggressive. Might be a little too much so, but Acheon does make it out with their life. Same with pressure. That's gonna be a lot of ultimate charge going Mighty Lord's way, but Taija is actually the one again ahead. This Ana's been, like we said, the highlight for the team, and I've been having a great time watching both the Anas go at it. I mean, Mighty Lord's had probably the best performance that we've seen out of them so far right now, and Taiju's basically putting up the same performance from yesterday, so incredible stuff from both of them. Time Resume still poking away, though, as Taija with the first nano boost yet again. Do Courage find this opening, though, to go in? There's the bubble. Dive in from the monkey. Nano boost is used by Taija, and they've capitalized. Xiao Lian's gone, and that's the space they needed to breathe, if not just for a moment. 2:42 on the clock, and the time bank is slowly being whittled down here.
They get space, but that's really about it here. Kiwa isn't able to get towards that Primal Rage, which you really would have liked to have seen if you're going to use that Nano here. It felt a little bit like a Nano Desperation. And with Hulabadan killing KKO, I don't think that's in a reasonable position either, Dor.
That's awful. The Bob goes straight onto the high ground. I actually like this Bob position. It makes it so tough. Taija's going to drop down right into the sidelines of the Bob. You have nowhere to go. Ace trades out a Pulse Bomb, but there's no stopping the inevitable. Time Resume come in and take away a second map.
I mean, it feels like Time Resume, they just need like that one little inch or one little misstep from like any team, and they completely just pounce on you. We saw it there, right? Like the second Halevidan gets that kill on KKO, they're like, dive. There's no way this is getting rezzed on our watch. They go in, Bob comes in. It's now a 7v5 in that scenario, and just with those numbers alone and with the respawns that Time Resume had, it's almost like impossible to win a fight like that if you're Courage.
Yeah, I mean, that's the teamwork that we were talking about, right? The level of coordination that they have is such that they never really lose the group. I think it was exemplified in the fight that we were talking about on point B, where it really kind of ended after one mistake from Courage, but you see just how long they last. You mentioned the scrappy fights that we always see Time Resume look so well in, it's because they're never scrappy. For them, it's only scrappy for the opposing side because Time Resume just stick together better. They target focus longer, and they don't get lost within each other's comms. Whoever's leading this team is doing it well, and the rest of the team is doing an amazing job at actually listening to them when it comes to target focus.
Yeah, I think that, like you were talking about, I think you hit the nail on the head. The communication from everyone on this roster just seems perfect. Like, they all seem on the same page with whatever they're doing, and granted, it is against a team like Courage, and when we saw them play, even against Billy yesterday, they still had that kind of in their back pocket where it was like they look like they always just know exactly what to do. So I think going forward for Time Resume, I want to see them continue to do that, and if they can, definitely look like they're in a good place to beat whoever comes out of that Up versus T1W matchup.
Yeah, and they have to prove it after one more map, and for them, this might just be, you know, not a warm-up, but a real confidence builder. They've had to play a lot of hard teams. They got to reaffirm themselves. Hey, this is our map. This is where we get to take it back. Maybe we see Up or T1W in the next one, but that's going to be coming up after a quick little break. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back.
Hey, just what do you think you're doing, you scientist? Is this what our tax dollars are going to? Well, enough of your tomfoolery. We need you on the battlefield, so put down those beakers and suit up. That's more like it. Looking good for a couple of scientists. To suit up yourself, all you have to do is create your Battle.net account, link it to your YouTube account, and then tune in to our Contenders broadcast during October to earn May and Winston Contenders skins. After that, you too can harness the power of science to zap, freeze, and pummel your way to victory. Yes, pummel. Like all scientists should. So get experimental and get watching Overwatch Contenders today.
Welcome back, everybody. Told you quick break, and again, I always deliver. It's time for map number 3 of our series. We got Time Resume and Courage coming up to bat for their 3rd map in a row. And this feels like the Chinese Contenders special right now, Kenobi. We are getting a team picking another map of which they have never won.
Yeah, we saw T1W do that yesterday, and you know, talking about
you
always deliver. You know. I mean, like the mailman, you always deliver, and like Chinese Contenders, it always delivers teams picking maps that they somehow just don't win at. It feels like, and they have very bad records on. So Numbani is going to be where we're going for this matchup between this 3rd map between Time Resume and Courage, and I would expect because of this, Akion will be staying on that Winston.
Very likely.
Very likely, because this is one of those maps where Winston just so good, being able to use that verticality and mobility to get to those high grounds. Still could play ball if you wanted to, but I think Winston just offers that on-demand engagement that you really like to see on hybrid maps like this.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the point is to avoid Mocha. Like, maybe they're more comfortable with the Winston mirror, because again, Taijit has been really playing well, and
That's like the galaxy brain, dude. Like, if you, like the galaxy brain where it's like, okay, we don't want to play against Mocha, so what if we took them to a map that...
Well, that's the
we haven't won in 3 times we haven't won on, but we don't have to play against Mocha.
Well,
that's like the
I think
head.
they don't have an answer to the vault. Like, Taijit's been playing incredibly. Don't get me wrong, absolute MVP for the team. But there is not enough to peel Mocha off this guy, and Princess hasn't really shown us too much Brigitte. Like, it just doesn't seem like it's really in the team's wheelhouse to counter the ball, and they're much more comfortable in mirror, which, again, I mean, fundamentally, in the neutral game, they've been playing extremely well, but ultimates-wise, where, I mean, Time Resume just taken over the game.
Yeah, I mean, sleeping Winston is completely easy, or not easier, I would say, but like getting the kill after on a slept Winston is way easier than getting the kill on a slept ball, because ball can just hit E and get all of his health back, and you can't really do anything about it.
Feels bad.
On the Winston, yeah, it feels really bad as a DPS player, unless you have like an Echo or something, but on Winston, it's easier to secure those kills after sleeps, and seeing Courage here on the offense, going to be opting in for the Echo again from Lazyang. Seems to be getting a lot of resources in these moments, especially with that Mercy pocket. And again, my eyes are going to be directly on either of those Annas, but my eyes are on Hell of a Dand right now, who takes out Lazyang. That should be in a resable position.
You just can't miss. It is resable, but at a cost. Akion drops onto the Mercy. Great dive. Will drop down, get Mighty Lord even more nano charge. Remember, you are watching the nanos while all this is going on. Time Resume did catch Courage overstepping their bounds, but it is a big boost it's going to give them in terms of tempo.
The nanos are actually pretty similar right now. Mighty Lord just a little bit ahead, but I think mostly it will be both of these Annas getting them at the same moment. Akion here very close to that primal range as well.
That's going to assist him a lot, right? That's something Kiwa has almost never had alongside their nano boost, and as they push into the high ground here, they're going to wish they had it. Taiju immediately pops a nano boost. Mighty Lord peels for himself, doesn't get to sleep that time, and Taiju does! That's huge for Courage! Ace as well, popping off of the back line as Kiwa finds the pincer maneuver. Incredible push out of Courage, and honestly, that's the one misstep out of Mighty Lord, and a great punish from it.
Yeah, I think a really good decision coming in from Courage there, knowing that the Ana is out of position, and you saw it was Kiwa and Ace who dove directly onto them. Akion's trying to bring it back with the Primal Rage, but it won't do anything. That's going to be a point taken for Courage here, and look at the ultimates that they're going to have to work with Door to move forward. They're going to have a duplicate. This is very snowballable for Courage in this situation, and this is a point of the map where like 1 or 2 fights is all you need to get second.
And I think it's super important for them as well, right? You're playing against Ashe. The last thing you want to do is be able to get set up properly on this high ground. So having those ultimates to push her off is going to be, I mean, just a blessing for them. And there it goes. From the high ground, Hell of a Dand has not been dove yet with the ultimates and shuts down Ace. That's pretty painful. That's going to allow Time Resume to push forward, and now those ultimates are coming online. It's the Bob for Hell of a Dand. It's the grab for pressure. There's so much more here for them to dip into, but they don't want to overextend into the ultimates of Courage.
And I think the other thing about Courage's composition is that they are lacking a little bit of range here. Hell of a Dand is kind of just been by himself as the Graviton Surge comes in. Can they secure the kills? Xiaolong goes down.
Great stuff out of Courage, and not only does the Graviton come out cleanly, it's comboed with the Pulse Bomb cleanly, and they don't use anything else.
Yeah, I would like them to keep a lot of their ultimates still here in their back pocket, and it looks like they are going to be doing so. And what we praised Time Resume for doing on, back on Nepal, rotating their ultimates effectively, Courage is doing it right now extremely well. And like I said, they won that first fight. Now they will probably get a second fight here as Time Resume will come back and try and stall this before a cap comes in at second.
Yeah, there's a lot of ultimates up on the field, and honestly a lot of orders in which you can use them. But you're looking at the Rally and the Valkyrie to be real indicators of who is winning this fight, which one gets used first. POV pops theirs initially, Courage pops Valk second. That's going to give Courage a little bit of a longer chance at actually trying to fight this one out. Popping the Duplicate as well is going to give them a new extension on the fight as the green player is dropping low. Time Resume looking a little bit worse for Wear, but as Courage run out of ultimates, they're running out of options to actually win the fight. Holovidan has gotten on the high ground, and there's nothing to contest him.
Yeah, I mean, the duplicate coming in from Lazyang didn't actually go for Holovidan, and Holovidan says, thank you very much, I'll sit on this high ground and I'll be totally fine.
POV hit the bonk, and that's what pushed him off. I mean, I had nowhere to go after that. It was shut down immediately.
Well, the first bonk did, but the Primal Rage after that actually, like, went to the backline and tried to get the Ana, and Holovidan right now is just having the time of his life on this Ashe, about to have a Bob very soon in this next fight, and again, Lazyang has to switch over to the Hanzo here to offer a little bit of range, because so far in this map, Holovidan has just been left uncontested on this high ground. Now with the Hanzo, finally there will be some contention.
Oh, I love the push from Time Resume, though. Aggressively, right? Taking angles to make sure, again, there's nothing to contest Holovidan, who has been just pocketed by this map. And I love the way that Time Resume are willing to funnel the resources into anybody on their team, right? Sometimes Mighty Lord, sometimes Acheon, sometimes Yelan. Here it's Holovidan.
It feels a little bit like they're kind of like baby Billy, right? Where it's like Billy does the same kind of thing where they're like always like, you know, passing the ball around in terms of who's getting resources. Shellion was very close to something right there. He was about to get logged by a Hanzo. I had like flashes of me and Comp just getting absolutely dome rocked by that arrow right there.
Bad feeling. So is Courage, though. The only ultimate they've got going into this is the Nano Boost, and they pop it immediately and don't get anything for it. Time is never going to pop ultimates of their own. Send a Hanzo off the map. Acheon just make sure that he goes down there, but he doesn't. Hanzo's back. Lazyang returns from the dead, and Courage are given a new shot at this. That's going to open it up even more for him. Even trades, but the spawn is closer for Courage. Remember, Time Resume don't feel comfortable using a lot of ultimates unless the whole team is there, and with how scrappy this is getting, they're trying to hold the ultimates for the fight proper, and I think Courage are actually going to reward it by playing passively.
See Shellion in the back here, has this pulse farm ready, could go into the back line and see if they could get someone, one of those supports that you definitely want to take out of this fight early.
Oh, they gave him too much time. Time Resume get back in with 6, pop the ultimates of their own. Jala and Otto, this is getting really awkward. Grabs are thrown in from either side. There's a dragon going, somewhere. Time Resume don't have any ultimates, though. Courage have a rally to make this one last, and it looks like they have a lot more gas in the tank to take on this second round of the fight. Dives in, though, for Time Resume, and they're going to try and make this Nano Boost count. The Monkeys in and Acheon trying to burn down these health bars, but just can't find a target.
Lazyang finally does go down. Acheon so low here, but he's getting kept up by their Ana. Taisha comes in with a Nano Boost on the KKO, but it's slept.
It's Time Resume now that we're looking at, right? POV's nearly up to the rally, and the support ultimates are what are keeping these fights going. Time Resume are coming up on the next one, and with this push going down onto Princess, I don't even think they're going to need it.
Definitely not. It's going to be cleanup crew right now coming in for Time Resume. And look at how patient Acheon was there with the Primal Rage. It was like a pixel of health and didn't decide to use it, which means they can keep it for this next fight, which actually might not even happen because time is ticking down. We're hearing that bell.
Just the Lucio. Princess, can you get there? How's your rollout? Not good enough. A's kept off, and that's a painful one for Courage, right? After such a good point A, just getting completely stopped up, and again, it came down to Holovidan in the high ground, like we were talking about at the beginning of it. It was one opportunity they had with all those ultimates to get on top of him, and the singular missed chance. Time Resume, hop on it, punish him the entire time. There's no getting the Ashe done with.
And I mean, the other thing that you could see is, like, when they switched over to the Hanzo, it actually looked like so much better, right?
Oh, yeah,
but they just didn't have the time to work with. That's the unfortunate thing. They took too long to kind of really respect the damage that Holovidan was bringing to the table, and Time Resume are going to be stopping that car, and Courage, their season is on the line right here. They have to hold here, or else they will be going home, and Time Resume will be the ones moving forward. So much to play for on this defense here for Courage.
High stakes for the team. Where do they want to lock in? No long-range hit scan, no Hanzo to try and counter Holovidan. They're going back to Lazyang on the Echo, and I mean, Lazyang's Echo has been good, but the Hanzo felt like a real shining moment for them, right? It really felt like they're actually starting to get some grip on the ground up against Time Resume, but Time Resume are going to come back, mirror the composition, and again, we're back to square number one with these Nano Boosts. Taija versus Mighty Lord for Fight Phone.
I can understand on the defense that you maybe want to play. I mean, still, Hanzo is also really good, but I think Lazyang's going to have a lot of good sightlines to use those sticky bombs and spam through with this Echo here. Time Resume, would I be interested to see? They're not going to keep this composition. There's no way. I wasn't going to see Reaper Echo. This isn't like my Plat games, okay? This is Chinese Contenders. You know, we got some real players in this lobby.
At least what seem like it right now. The performances we're getting are incredible. Now the poke begins. Ana's racing up to a nano boost. Winston's not wanting to overstep their bounds. Kiwa's made the mistake a couple of times. Akeon's made the mistake a couple of times, going a little bit too deep. A little too far into the beans. With the Hive. Time Resume's getting a lot of space. They might not even have to drop here. The Winston's been up there for a long time. Akeon gets a lot of value out of that dive. It actually gives Time Resume the space to push on the point. In the space to take down Lazy Yang. The damage wasn't there for Courage. They weren't able to focus down Akeon quick enough on the high ground. And because he was allowed to stay there for so long, Time Resume clean house on point A.
Oh, I love the patience there coming in from Time Resume, just waiting for that perfect opportunity where someone from Courage missteps and Lazy Yang gets beamed down by Xiaolian. And that's going to be Courage losing this first point. Such a huge time bank coming in for Time Resume. They're not even going to push the cart that much. They're going to take as much space as they possibly can because they know they just need that one fight to win.
A stagger, maybe even two here. Could end the fight if it's onto the right character, but Courage wisely back away. Couple of ultimates coming up. Taija again, 20% ahead to Nano Boost, just killing it on the Ana. But is that enough? Time Resume have so many tools to push this fight in, and it's almost certain they're going to do it quickly. This is a disjointed push out of Courage. They threw a Nano Boost into that. There is no fault. The Ana is miles away from the rest of the team here. They've got to make this count or get out cleanly, and it doesn't look like they're going to be able to do either. Lazy Yang's out and pressure's pushing for smelling blood in the water.
Oh, the counter dive is so good here from Time Resume. They don't buckle under the pressure. They just say, you're diving us, we're going to counter dive. The Nano goes directly onto the pressure, who is so high charged, but A's is somehow bringing this back. 2 kills. This is winnable.
I mean, it's practically won. Time Resume overstepped. They wanted a little bit too much in pressure. Yeah, you smell blood in the water, but you've got to know when to pull out. Time Resume are going to have to pull back here for fear of losing the fight quickly to Courage. The duplicate's nearly online. If they take this one aggressively, they could force it out. Lazy again, the first pick though. Xiaolian is the difference. Picks off Princess as well, and though it's traded, it's immediately res back. Time Resume still have a Graviton in hand. Hell of a Dan throws in a Pulse Bomb for good measure. With a duplicate out from Xiaolian, they'll get one more Nano in this fight to really finish things off, and that's looking like a team that is headed on to the next round. Kenobi.
I mean, that duplicate onto the Ana looked a bit suspect, but there, with so much healing and sustain, it actually helped Time Resume so much, and Courage has to get to the point quickly, but grabbed off! Oh, what a grab!
A's got a touch, but I just think it's in time. Maybe they get one more touch in. Winston's going to be here for Courage, but no ultimates are up on the field for either side. Mighty Lord's coming up to the first Nano Boost.
Oh, no!
No!
Not
No!
Why is it always like that?
Kenobi. Look at me. Between you and me, I mean, viewers.
Yeah. Let's have a moment.
How much more of this can you and I stand? Like, you got put through 4 matches yesterday of just non-stop.
This is, yeah, I mean, this has just been, we need like a counter. Like, I'm gonna go back after these 4 days. I'm going to
you're telling me you want to relive this.
That's true, actually. Maybe I shouldn't. maybe I need to talk with the therapist first. But I mean, that's gonna be a C9 that unfortunately ends Courage's chances of moving on to this bracket. Time Resume with a quick and clean 3-0. And man, what a way to end it, unfortunately, for Courage.
Hey, you know what? It's going out in true Chinese Contender style, that's for sure.
Well, for this playoffs, definitely. For this playoffs, for sure.
That's been, you know what's crazy? Like, we haven't gotten a lot of those this season until playoffs. They really just saved them all.
Yeah, they had them all in their bank, and they're just spending right now. Just all of the C9s that they have at their table, but... I mean, to be fair, to Time Resume, they had a really good performance throughout all of the maps here. They looked clean, looked calm, looked collected, and I think the biggest thing about them that I liked was just the coordination that they have. So on point. They all seemed like they were on the same page every time the dives were going in, or every time dives were coming into them. So, you know, they're going to be facing up against T1W or Up Academy in this next round, and they're looking pretty good and have a lot of momentum.
Yeah, you and I were actually talking earlier about, like, you know, they beat T1W already. Is Up Academy in the books for them? I mean, it wasn't last time that we saw them, but the more we think about it, the more we watch this team, the more we see them improve. We're like, maybe they could do it. They're looking really good. And honestly, with the performance from our MVP for the game, I think it really does set the tone for where they want to go in the next round, right? We've got Mighty Lord as our MVP, and I think absolutely deserved. That performance on Anubis alone was warranting this.
I mean, every single time Kiwa was diving in on that Winston, got slept. Whether they were nanoed, whether they were primal rage, just every single time those sleeps were hitting. And when you're negating not only primal rages, but nanos at that type of efficiency, it makes it so hard for the enemy team to win, because you can't cycle your ultimates like you would like to, because you're sleeping on the ground. So well played to Mighty Lord, having a great performance on that Ana and helping Time Resume get to the next round of the bracket.
Yep, and we're going to find out who their opponent is in just a moment. We've got T1W going up against their opponents, Up Academy. One more time, again, this is it. Teams are in, or teams are out. We find out which ones get to stay in a moment. Stay tuned.
Is your SR in the toilet? Are you losing every 1v1 you try to take? Do you deserve a higher rank, but your teammates just keep feeding? You aren't alone, but now you can ditch the defeat screen and learn from the best by subscribing to Overwatch Contenders. Watching Contenders matches works with your immune system to increase your gaming ability. It tackles the problem at the source and heightens your game sense. And ringing the bell is clinically proven to increase your ability to click on heads. So instead of waiting for Smurfs to carry you every game, learn from the best and become the carry yourself. Overwatch Contenders is not for everyone. Consult your doctor before pressing that subscribe button. Side effects may include carry performances, increased levels of copium, higher risk of C9ing, throwing for content, increased reaction times, and back problems when carrying the weight of your team. It's time you took control of your SR. Ask your doctor about subscribing to Overwatch Contenders today.
look back, Kenobi and I have finished our research on good therapists in our area, and now it's time to get into our second match of the day, and we're gonna be needing them. T1W is on the field against Up Academy.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we have a lack of C9s in this matchup.
Don't
that
say
would definitely be good
that.
for my mental.
You're lying to yourself. You are a
gonna
fool.
knock on some wood there just to make sure. But yeah, it definitely most likely will happen now that I've brought it up. But so you can see how we got here. Up Academy versus T1W in the losers bracket. Remember, this is all or nothing for both of these teams. If you lose, you are going home, and your career in Overwatch 1 ends this way. And Up Academy versus T1W, I mean, in any other circumstance, like this would be a matchup that I would expect to see like further in the bracket, especially for T1W. But the funny thing is it's not shocking to me because it is T1W who's down here. T1W using the time resume, and then T1W exactly like they did in the previous playoffs in Season 1 where they look really good coming into the tournament. They bust her out in the first round, and then they go to the losers bracket and they bust her out again. Hopefully, if you are a T1W fan, like I am, because this team has so much history since I've been covering Chinese Contenders. Like, they've won a championship in Chinese Contenders before. Let's, like, not forget that they were once a really good team. And to see them fall so far has been kind of heartbreaking for me. So, this is some copium for me. Like, there needs to be some T1W copium and hopium here.
That's the, like, if there ever was a team that could just, like, miraculously pull out a win against anybody, it is T1W. But if there's also a team that's entirely capable of tossing the playoffs, it's also T1W.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Like, such a stacked roster, such a good team, and even this season, a little bit rougher than last season, but even when they looked good, playoffs have always been a struggle for them. They just get the yips, and things look a little rough. We saw, like 3 C9s out of them over the course of 3 maps yesterday.
It was 2 in 1 map. It was 2 in 1 map, I remember. I remember it was 2 in 1 map, but here we're going to look at the rosters. Akide, Night God, Bin, Zabag, Dotori, and Physics, who Physics has been on one. Like yesterday, played so well on the Ana, played so well on the Zen, and the Baptiste as well. Actually, every flex support that this guy got his hands on, absolute domination. But again, the issue with this team, Dor, is that coordination. They sometimes just do not seem like they are on the same page, and it's so detrimental to a team that on paper should be really good.
Yeah, I mean, I could dote over any one of these players at any point in time. Bins has been, I mean, maybe one of the most fun off tanks to watch that we've had in Chinese Contenders in a hot minute. Yeah, I mean, how many ultimates this guy's eaten over the season? I would genuinely like a tally. Not just on broadcast. I'm sure there are unbroadcast games that this guy is just gobbling them up. He has had a thirst and a hunger. But again, yeah, you're right. The coordination's been off. Zabag is kind of the person to watch. If they die in the kill feed, UNW's probably lost the fight. Happens pretty often. But if they don't die in the kill feed, they're probably doing something pretty sick. In which case, T1W is winning the fight. Against their opponent, though, Up Academy, it's going to be tough to get away with a lot of that.
Yeah, Up Academy, I mean, we've seen this team yesterday. C-Wave, Mike Lee, Ion, Off, Charon, and ZXZ. And the big thing about this team for me is that main tank role, because Ion is the one who's playing here, but when Up Academy was succeeding so much, it was because they had Jihoon, and Jihoon plays mostly the Orisa and the ball, and while Ion can kind of play the ball at the same time, we were talking about this like off break doors, that it's the synergy between Ion and Off just doesn't seem the same as like when it's Jihoon and Off. When it's Jihoon and Off, like every halt is just comboed along with something. When it's Ion and Off, it just did not have that same stopping power, and I think that's really hindering Up Academy, but I think they are still a good enough team to take it to T1W.
Absolutely. I mean, the coordination's been there. Charon's been, I think, my favorite flex support that we've gotten to see, especially on the Baptiste, is so incredible this season. C-Wave, Mike Haley as well, DPS lineup that nobody wants to contend with. And Nike's going to have a hard time. I want to take one more second to appreciate those sick jerseys that they have, because, I mean, it might be the last time we see them all season. And those things are
really good.
They're way too cool. I want... Up, actually, you know, the Up people watch this. If I could buy one of those, or like if you guys want to send me one,
can we hook us up? Can we hook us up with some Up Academy jerseys?
Dude, those are amazing. All right, now that we've gotten our shilling out of the way, Luzhong Tower is the first map we're heading to, and I think it's a pretty comfortable map for both sides. Physics, this is where we saw, I mean, the christening of his godlike Zenyatta.
His Zenyatta was crazy. I mean, I think he had 3 Transcendences in one map on Gardens, I believe it was.
It was 2.5 Transcendences in a 99 to 0.
In 99 to 0, yeah, that's what it was. So that's still a lot. It's not like we had like a really long control center. It was just basically, and not control center, rather, Gardens, and that's actually where we're going first. This is where both of these teams actually have no losses on this map.
Wow.
So one of these teams is going to have their first loss. It's wild that
That's
Academy has
crazy.
6 wins on this map.
It's such a good map for, I mean, 6-0. That is a record if I've seen
Neither
one.
of these teams lost. That's kind of crazy to me.
I mean, you can understand when Physics is putting up performances like that, I wouldn't expect you to lose. Carol's gonna have to match him though, and it is the Sombras we've got to watch here. It's one of the lanes that we saw Up Academy really succeed on this map in earlier. Right, that coordination really came into play, and the EMPs felt perfect every single time. And as the first fight goes out, you're looking for the charge, but you're also looking to find a misstep by the opposing side, right? These comps are so all over the place that a singular dive could be a big hack onto the ball, though. Forces away Ion, and both balls are getting traded out now, and this fight is going to get hectic.
Yeah, without those Hammonds, there's not as much disruption for both of these teams, but it looks like T1W has control of the point right now, at least directly onto it. Now, Up Academy trying to get back in and get their positioning, but the point has not flipped over to any side just yet.
But this is exactly what T1W want. This is a position that we've seen Physics pop off in time and time again. Right, just back towards that white room, can take any angle he wants, anywhere. Immediately is traded out, though, and both players losing a mirrored, right? Both lose a Tracer, both lose a Zenyatta. They're
All of
picking
the
the
kills.
exact same target for both
All of the
sides.
kills have just been mirrored. They've all been mirrored. It's been the way Hammonds going down, it's been the Tracers, and the same people killing everyone. This fight is hectic, but T1W, Door, fortunately for them, they do have control of this point, so now it's just all about stalling.
I would argue it's the most ordered fight, actually, with what we've been seeing. First EMP is out, though, from Up Academy. Do they have follow-up? I don't think they do. That felt a little misguided, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, C-Wave committing and buying back into that one's gonna, I think, haunt them really bad because Akide got a lot more value out of their EMP, and now Up Academy know that realistically there isn't an EMP on the other side, so Physics, if he would choose to do so, can hold this Transcendence until a different scenario where if there was an EMP, you would want to hold it for that.
You just got every opportunity in the world. Oh,
Excuse me.
Tracer diff?
That's Tracer.
Tracer gap? Tracer canyon? Oh my god. I mean, it's a brutality. There's nothing more you can do. You lost your damage, that's the rest of the team gone. Up Academy just swooped over by T1W, and they're gonna get to hold everything in their back pocket for it.
That was so well played from Nightgod, just taking out Mike Haley, who's had a pretty decent performance on the Tracer, but they're outmatched by Nightgod. Nightgod, we know as a player who can have those moments, and T1W ticking up 70% for them. By the time this next fight starts, Door, Up Academy will be in last fight territory. They have ultimates to work with, they have a Transcendence and a Rally. They have a little bit more sustainability because Dotori used their Rally in that last fight. But T1W are just playing this slow. I mean, Up Academy's not really pushing the advantage here.
You haven't got to do anything. Just hold your Transcendence. I've got like the sinking feeling that Physics is about to just throw a bunch of orbs at somebody's head. It's a gut feeling more than anything else, but it very much could happen. T1W now looking for the push in, pop the Transcendence for the engagement. It's Akide taking on C-Wave first, denying them the chance at the EMP. Akide is going to get the first blow at this, and that's going to be painful coming back into this point. Up Academy have got to find a clear way in, and with Physics off the map, they're giving it. Sending the ball packing, though.
No, it wasn't a CR. It wasn't.
He's hacked. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, he's hacked.
You had less than 4 members alive. I've seen a lot worse out of
I've
him.
seen worse.
Yeah.
I've seen worse. I've seen a lot worse. And I mean, for T1W, I think in that map specifically, I think who performed really well were the DPS. I think Akide actually had C-Wave's number a lot on the Sombra, but the main difference was Nightgod checking Kaylee every single place. Kaylee is a very good DPS in their own right, but was checked completely by Nightgod, and T1W actually looks like they're switching up their composition a little bit. Remember what I talked about? A little bit of a pause here between both these teams. Remember what I talked about? We don't play Ryan unless it's absolutely necessary in Chinese contenders. This feels like it's one of those moments, and we're going to see Symmetras going onto the point, teleporting. We're going to see an absolute brawl at the start of this map.
Yeah, and this is one of the, I think, big decision-making points for T1W, right? We saw this out of them yesterday. Nightgod got a May ultimate charge as the first ultimate on the field. Before any ultimates were on for the supports, before
the point cap,
he had a Blizzard.
Unlocked, actually. Before the point unlocked, he had Blizzard, and he just held it for so long. So hopefully, if that does happen again, Nightgod will be a little bit more aggressive, let's say, with his ultimate usage and not hold on to it.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, right? It was a turning point for them then. Even though they proceeded to lose every map afterwards, they stopped holding their ultimates. That's what I want to see them do. Continue to play proactively up against Up Academy. Take the lessons of yesterday, take them into the match today.
And those TPs, and who gets on first is going to be incredibly important. Who gets onto this point. Those BAP immortality fields also incredibly important. Look out for those and who uses them first and who uses them more effectively.
TPs are out on the point. Zvag looking to pressure people out, but with both balls down, it's going to be a moment before anything gets real dicey.
Zvag?
Both immortality fields are out. This is crazy. This is going to get weird. Ion's forced out, but the turrets are up for T1W. Position's a lot better. The health bar's dropping low for Up Academy, and they have nowhere to go. C-Wave down. That's all the damage gone. You have to reset now.
Yeah, C-Wave not being there means there is no symmetric. Just continuously beam the rest of the members, and Up Academy just have to retreat here. They've actually zoned out Zabag somehow, some way. They can secure this kill, but the healing is so good coming in from Physics.
It's absolutely nuts. Again, just a clinic being put on by Physics. A highlight player for T1W, and one that, I mean, coming into the season, we were looking at Akide, we were looking at Bins, we were looking at Night God, and we were like, yeah, this roster's stacked. Physics, I think, came out of the woodwork.
Physics is just another DPS, it feels like, but also a healer at the same time. It's like that I'm a healer but meme, but with T1W, they now have full control of this point. They have ultimates to work with as well, and Up Academy, if they want to get in here, they're going to have to use that Ant Matrix to push forward.
That's what it really comes down to, is who's got the better Ant Matrix, though. Pops one, no wall to answer. Kaylee is down, though. Not popping Blizzard. Now it's Night God's turn to push in with it. Doesn't really catch anybody, but I don't think it has to. They can continue pushing out on this if they really want to, but they're not going to try and make this issue happen anytime sooner. They've got more ultimates, and they need to hold their cards close to the chest.
Yeah, and I like this so much more how T1W is playing this, because yesterday we saw them play out of this point with the same composition. You know you want to play inside of this point with the geometry, with the close spacing, but Up Academy have a Blizzard of their own to move forward here. We'll see what they can get with it as Off gets back into the mech, and now Up Academy to charge forward.
You gotta remember, it is Bins we're talking about here. Looking for the eat. He wants it bad. Sound barrier is popped to make sure this can happen, but Night God goes down first. It's looking good for Up Academy. As long as C-Wave is alive, they've got the damage they need. Teleports into the back line, and now they've dove onto what they want. Is back forced off of the map here, or forced back to spawn. Either way, it works out for Up Academy. At 78%, they're going to take over their first shot at the point.
Really good decision as well there from Kaylee to hold the Blizzard until they knew that they had frozen Bins, because you talked about it. Bins is one of those people who eats just any type of ultimate for breakfast, and there wasn't able to do so with that defense matrix. And T1W switching up their composition a little bit, keeping those rush tanks, but getting a little bit more spam. And Up Academy, again, just move back over to that point, stay in there. You don't want to be victim to the spam. You want to be able to play in an area where the Pharah isn't going to get a ton of value.
And I like this. I mean, Night God is an iconic Pharah for Chinese contenders. And with the bag down, it is looking good for Up Academy. There's no main tank to push off the back of T1W. Still do have the spam, though. Teleport on Night God. Great game awareness from C-Wave. Just takes both the Pharah Mercy down at, honestly, a pretty critical point in the fight.
Yeah, I think really this is the second time where C-Wave has had a really good teleport into the backline and actually basically annihilated the fight from the inside out. And T1W now have to reset and come back into this fight. Not a lot of ultimates charged up for them, and Zabag actually is switching. The interesting thing here for me, Dor, is they're switching a lot. There is a lot of switching going on from T1W when they maybe not have needed to. Like, I think their composition was fine, but it seems like a bit of desperation with these swaps.
Yeah, and honestly, an amplification matrix could really end it. I mean, C-Wave's going to give them a great engagement, a way to avoid the damage that Night God is putting in with the photon barrier. EMP of Akide feels like the only way through this for T1W right now, but even that is only 90% charged, and time is beginning to run thin here. Point contest begins. Far looking around the side. They pop Photon Barrier, which is a great, honestly, tool for T1W. They can just wait this one out.
Yeah, you wait this one out if you're T1W. However, it does create more time in Up Academy. Here comes the EMP from Akide.
Catch it on the tanks. Night God is in. Where's the follow-up here? Amplification Matrix just shuts it all down. Up Academy are in everything that T1W wanted to do. The EMP, the barrage that they wanted, it's not happening. No chance, no shot.
I mean, Kaylee had the most crisp ice block I've ever seen. He actually sees the Sombra come out of stealth, ice blocks before the EMP hits him, isn't actually hacked, and then throws down that May Blizzard, so that way the follow-up can't be there. There's no way that Up Academy can get into that fight onto the point with the May Blizzard. Extremely clutch play coming out from Kaylee there.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just Kaylee, right? Karon dodged it too. It was just really great positioning. There was a call out that, right, this EMP is the only way back into fight for T1W, and that's just credit to the ult tracking of Up Academy and the fight planning. It's that level of coordination that we talk about that we expect from the top teams and Chinese contenders. We are heading, though, to the Reinhardt map now. Kenobi, how you feeling about this?
I mean, this is kind of where Up Academy, I think, is going to have a little bit of an advantage here, because I think Off specifically is on comfort right now with this Sigma pick. I think everyone else is kind of on even footing, but Night God going over to the Junkrat, so that's a lot of spam that T1W is going to have here, but they don't have the utility of the Mei.
You know, I see Night God's idea here, and Night God is an incredible Junkrat. It's weird. Night God's got some, like, heroes in his pool, like the Mei, like the Junkrat, that are very uncommon for Chinese contenders that he is the best at, but that double mining onto the Reinhardt, boosting him forward, was a bit over-aggressive, right? You're trying to knock people out of position, but maybe a little too far.
And I think the way that they played it, it's a little bit of a problem of difficulty of execution, I think, for this composition from T1W, because you don't get like a get out of jail free card if you're like Mei. Because Mei has like ice block, you have a lot of more health. If Night God steps out of position even once, he gets blasted by everyone from Up Academy. So they have to be very careful with Night God's positioning here, or he's gonna get blown up like he did in that last fight.
Yeah. Not to mention Zabag, right? Bins is on
like that again. Look.
I mean, Bins is on Reinhardt, and the Sigma can't get around the Mei walls to help the Reinhardt out the same way that a D.Va would just fly over them. Now C-Wave on the backline, it's only going to get bloodier. Another one fight for Up Academy as they secure the point, 30% ticking their way.
Yeah, someone has to help Night God if he's going to be in this position right here. You either have to commit Bins to like kind of just sit there and be a perma shield for him. ZXZ, didn't get the kill, but Tori's going to go down, and Up Academy have full control right now, and they're pushing the advantage. Finally, that's the one that ends up going down. And that's going to be a full reset here for T1W. Still sticking with the Junkrat door, and for a team that switched so much in the previous map, them not switching now feels so weird to me.
And this is against a team, I mean, you have the opportunity to run any sort of spam. You could run the Tracer. You could do a lot here, but not going for it. TP in. Shatter immediately does connect. Mike Haley is on the floor. Turned into nothing but a stain. But it's only one pick. Soundberry is out for Up Academy. They have a lot more ultimates to try and win this fight. The Flux is huge! Oh, that's a lot of low health bars. Perfectly timed Soundberry out of Dotori, though, keeps the fight alive for T1W and could finish it off. Bins the tank alive here for the white side, and T1W do just manage to do it, but honestly, had Dotori not popped that Soundberry at a perfect time, it could have been over a long time ago.
T1W they seem to have like a vendetta against Mike Haley. They just rushed, immediately just plastered him against the floor, and Mike Haley wasn't able to use that Mei Blizzard. So good decision and good coordination from T1W here. Now Night God finally is able to set up on this Junkrat, can spam through these chokeholds, has the Rip Tire as well that can force out key cooldowns, and here we see Junkrat Tire going in, teleported. Oh, actually they forced out Immortality Field, so it's gonna maybe take some time for for Up Academy to reset here before moving forward.
I don't think they can. Maybe they poke with the Hanzo to see what happens. No counter charge. The counter shatter though. Oh, it was a bag.
Huge.
The bag just too aggressive, too much sauce. That's it. I mean, it's a free shatter for Ion.
Coordination too. I think that was a complete miscommunication where Zabag just goes charging in, and Ion's like, okay, well the Reinhardt's not here. There's no shield. I'm gonna get the freest shatter of my life. And Up Academy is in last fight territory right now. T1W don't really have a lot to work with in terms of ultimates here, Doran. They've made some wholesale swaps on their DPS.
You're looking at the Flux, if anything here, maybe a wall onto a critical player off, pushing forward, dropping low. Up Academy, taking the fight into their own hands.
Oh, Zabag. No! Oh, no! Okay, stop.
Drop it!
Okay, dude, like, how many times are T1W gonna do this? They had 6 members there, they were all alive, and no one touched point. How? How does this keep happening?
I'm gonna
need therapy. I'm gonna need therapy. I will need therapy. Chinese contenders.
Do we have over like little Men in Black like flash things just make you forget like the last couple hours, maybe the last like 2 days? That's what we. Oh
bro.
You know, they're nothing if not consistent, Kenobi.
That's the one thing they're consistent in. It feels like for T1W. But like, yeah, I mean. Again, it's so frustrating because you see plays like this from Night God, and like Night God has his moments, but there's also times where he's very quiet. It feels like the moniker of T1W is just the inconsistency. Like they on this map of like Night Market, right, where they're playing this rush style of brawly style of composition, and it's working out. You have 82%. You then switch over to compositions that aren't really the same, and you take so much time of getting your ult economy back and all those things, and then when you're in a position where you should be switching, I think, off the Junkrat, you just don't. So it's not consistent. It's never consistent with T1W, except when they get C9s, it feels like, because that's always consistent. That happens every time.
And it's frustrating. I mean, I think I have to reiterate this every time, because we've got to be fair to T1W.
Yeah.
Everyone here, every last caster that we've had in Chinese Contenders has been a fan of T1W. They were like my favorite team last year.
They're so good.
They're so good, and they're so much fun to watch. But I mean, man, playoffs T1W is another beast. The curse is biting them again. They're only one map in.
Yeah.
That is a saving grace for us.
Yeah, that it is control. It is kind of like a little bit of a mishmash of like a map where, you know, things can get a little bit more hectic. But I mean, talking about like being a fan of T1W, T1W was a team that like was able to go to, you know, they went to Pacific Showdown. They didn't go to Gauntlet, but they kept the Gauntlet spot for China in 2019. They've won a championship. Like, there was a time I remember where I was here and I was the only T1W believer because I was like, they're gonna 4-0 everyone because they were playing Doomfist Goats, and no one believed me. And then they ended up winning with dropping a single map the whole tournament. But now it feels like they've fallen so far from that, and it's really sad to see because I think that this team is good, like on paper, but we're going to be going to Volskaya as our next map, and hopefully T1W can bring it back here, because I don't want to see them go out like this from Overwatch 1. It would be so tragic.
I think an injustice to the team, and every member on there, like, we know they've got the capability. And, you know, you say, like, they've fallen so far. I'm not even convinced they've fallen far. It's like, all the tools are there. Like, the team fundamentally is good. It's just not working. Something doesn't click right now, and while they've put a good team together, that team is not winning games right now. Up Academy, though, are going to give them one more shot at it. Volskaya, which T1W actually not played, is going to be their pick.
And for Up Academy, I mean, they're definitely going to be fine with this decision of going to a map like this, because they can play their double shield. It's not the Jihoon version of double shield, but it's double shield nonetheless, which I think is their best composition overall. With the spam, I remember watching, you know, you and Moxie cast Up Academy on Volskaya, and C-Wave was just on another level.
The problem
on
here.
Hanzo. So
oh yeah,
my eyes are firmly on C-Wave on that Hanzo pick, because if left to their own devices, he is going to shoot so many arrows into the faces of T1W.
Yep, this is the map for C-Wave and Charon specifically, right? This is where we saw the Baptiste pop off, pull out some excellent plays to hold the point, where C-Wave just found head after head after head up against the likes of, you know, Chaser and Billy. See if he can put up that kind of performance again. Poke starts off, and T1W not offering up much, playing a pretty mobile composition here. They'll try and knock the Orisa out of position with the bag, but where are you going from here? Pile driver doesn't catch anything. Now with Nightgod in the back line, they have separated Up Academy away from one another pretty effectively. The Orisa is completely isolated, but not out of LOS of the rest of the team. Caught a whiff of C-Wave up on the high ground, but at half HP, they're looking pretty good so far. Does go down eventually, though. Great coordination out of Zabag, and Nightgod to find the first pick. They need more than that. Ion steps forward, recognizes the opportunity, and strikes at it, honestly, right when they needed it most.
Ion just evil toastered the entirety of T1W right there. He just flanked around, got 2 kills, and has actually done a pretty good job of holding the line right here with the rest of Up Academy. Zabag goes in, but doesn't have pile drivers, so he gets annihilated. And T1W, what looked like such a good engagement, has faltered a little bit here.
Much more do they got, though. I mean, they got plenty of time. 2:34, a little bit of time has been ripped off the clock, but they're coming up on the ultimates. Physics is doing well towards the Transcendence, but Up Academy haven't been needing to use any of theirs, and when I see the amplification matrix and I see a bongo on the field for them, that's a lot of stall they've got. Nightgod's thinking about putting the pulse bomb on this wrist, but there's no real need right now. It's not going to guarantee a kill. And Up Academy, again, just unmoving from their position. They have held this so strong. Pulse bomb does connect, though. It's Charon down. Nightgod finds the opportunity they were looking for, and finally, the fight decisively won for T1W.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of timing that really helped out Nightgod there get that pulse bomb, because Charon had to throw the immortality field at the tanks and couldn't save it for themselves, and this is just going to be cleanup for T1W. Their spawns are closer. They're going to have this point capped, hopefully here, unless a disaster happens for them, but I don't think they're that close.
No, and a nice set of ultimates to try and snowball with, right? Nearly another pulse bomb for Nightgod. Yep. You're coming up on a dragon for Akide. Combo it even with a gravitic flux from Bins, or just use them on their own. I think you're feeling pretty good.
And the big thing is that Up Academy used a lot of key ultimates to kind of hold that one. They duped, they used the Gravitic Flux, and they used both their support ultimates. So those are things that you definitely would have wanted to try and hold from a snowball coming in from T1W. Luckily, you keep Dragons and you keep the Bongos, so it will be a little bit easier, but T1W have a lot to work with. Night God with that Pulse Bomb could throw it into that back line, try and force that Immortality Field, or just get a raw pick.
I love the positioning here from Up Academy.
Really
They've
good
completely
dragons.
spread apart. We've seen this Dragon before from Ikeda, actually, taking him off the high ground. But Up Academy have done such a good job of spreading out. This Gravitic Flux has found niche. Absolutely nada. Mike Haley just flies right over it. The one player maybe caught in that Gravitic Flux easily recovers. And even though the Resurrect comes up onto Ikeda, it's still not a winning fight for T1W. They do not have a clear engage. Maybe Physics can use the Transcendence to get them in here. But with the ball already having used his engage, again, there's no clear way to walk. They'll try and use the Transcendence, but that is not the greatest Transcendence, honestly. Like, it gets them out of the Dragon, but they have no more space than they did when it started.
Oh yeah, and Benz is going down. That means that the tank's lost here. Night God gets nothing with the Pulse Bomb either, and Ion is just, again, just evil toastering it up right now, just holding that corner as best as they can. And T1W will have to retreat here, getting nothing for all the ultimates that they used, and Up Academy hold strong on their defense. Nice combo! Dotori gets so low, they just couldn't finish it off, but it's nice to see that there is some combination between the communications from Ion and from Off. That's something that they've been missing, it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, Ion's actually been, I think, the highlight for Up Academy so far this map, so hats off to him. Getting those playoff performances in. Mike Haley in from the back line, though. That's still gonna kill! Oh, that's unfortunate for Physics. And I mean, that's
a good hero.
That's gonna be at least the fight one for now. Up Academy now grouped up on the high ground because they know they're not playing into a Gravitic Flux. They know they can stick together and really make the most of the ultimates they've got online. Night God's looking for the back line, though, and the Dragons are gonna push him off the high ground again. Akide throws them. Where? What? There's a Dragon soaring off into the sky. How majestic, chat. Ion's out of the way, and while Up Academy were busy trying to find the Dragon, T1W were killing him, so I guess it works.
And Off actually was forced out of their Gravitic Flux because they were stunned, so they weren't able to get that value, and Mike Haley is duped into a Sigma themselves. Aren't going to be able to get the Gravitic Flux in, and this fight is just so scrappy right now, dude.
But that's so much better for us, right? I mean, they're on the defensive side. They have the spawn advantage. That's a high-value Flux. Oh, my God. Bin's putting them in the trash. Just one left on the high ground. I mean, Seawave is good as dead now. A minute on the clock, and this could be a time bank that's actually very, very nice for T1W. Akide out of the way. Next kill is in. They just need that one last tick. Seawave can't touch, and that's going to be the point going over. One more touch from the ball. T1W, I think they've done it.
Yeah, they should be able to have this. Just need to clean up these stragglers. And Bins had an absolute phenomenal just last 30 seconds of that map. That Gravitic Flux, absolutely huge, and then able to clean up the rest of the team there with some nice accretions. Actually, I think stunned Up Academy out of their own Gravitic Flux at the same time. So I think for Bins, they're really the carry player. We were talking about how Off was, or Ion was the highlight, I think, for Up Academy. I think for T1W, the highlight's been Bins.
Bins has always been the highlight for me. I mean, have you seen the hair?
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, can't.
Walking highlight that, man. It isn't. T1W, though. I mean, that is time. That's like time with time on the clock. Which, again, sometimes feels like a foregone conclusion on Volskaya, but I'd be more than happy with it, right? That push was looking pretty rough. It got really shaky, but Bins, through all of it, just finds a huge play to get him in with the time bank, and now they're feeling pretty comfortable. They get to lock in on the defense. Seawave not coming in on Hanzo. Instead, like they want to attack with more of that rush, the 6-man that we got earlier.
Yeah. This is something that we've seen Up Academy do on this map, and specifically where we've seen them kind of opt in for this more Dallas feel style of rush composition, where they just play it really aggressively and just try and find someone in the backline that they can dive, or on, you know, the high ground on plat. And against T1W, realistically, there is someone that you can get to that backline, which is going to be Physics specifically, but Zabag there is going to be able to kind of just... Zabag is going to be able to kind of just, like, be a real detriment to this composition. It's actually what we saw Shanghai do really well with Fate, where once those engagements were coming in, Zabag was... Okay.
Was he still?
I really hope, for Seawave's mental sake, that he wasn't.
Oh my god. You know, I love this game. I love this game. Yeah,
Dude,
we're just gonna pause for you.
So
10
mad
seconds.
if you get logged like that. Just
If
there was no way he
another
wasn't
one.
in stealth either.
Yeah. Oh, he's been caught out, and he's right back where he started. Feels bad. I mean, that is almost a minute off the clock.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like they kind of want to play this a little bit. Well, they're kind of forced to play this a little bit more slowly, but now the dive can finally come in if they see an engagement.
That wasn't the jump key they wanted. This is, you know, for a short moment, a 5v6 for Up Academy, and they're taking advantage of it. The Hanzo wasn't in there to deny them the hallway, to throw arrows down, and Up Academy do get on top of T1W, and the health bars are all so low. With Charon going down first, that's a clear fight win for T1W. The AoE healing is gone, and thus, being in the small room is no longer such a good thing.
The thing is I don't know if they want to really take that engagement in that enclosed area. Sure, you do like a lot of brawly damage, but so does T1W. Like T1W with Brig, with Zabag, and with the Sigma as well. You do a ton of up close and personal damage, and if you're not getting those kills quickly for Up Academy, you're not going to win a sustained fight.
Now, and speaking of sustained fights, T1W's got one coming up. I mean, 2 support ultimates on the horizon for them. A lot of tools, and Up Academy seemingly not taking your advice, Kenobi. Oh, they fake going high. Go low. Akide's out. That's what we're looking for.
They're taking my advice for sure.
They've listened. The point ticks are going to start going over. I actually really like this disengage from T1W. They get to pop the rally and then push back. Ion's overextended, thinking that they're not holding their ground, but T1W just playing dead for a moment. It was a fake, though. This was what they wanted the entire time. The pushback in looks clean. And as Up Academy start to pop ultimates, T1W can just respond 1 by 1 with their own, or 4 by 1. Flux, Physics, Night God, Zabang, everything, the kitchen sink included, has been thrown in by T1W. Now Up Academy are going to come in. They're coming with a Primal. They're coming with a Bomb. They're coming with an EMP, a Death Blossom. Every single tool is at their disposal. This is their fight to lose.
Oh, this is so bad here for T1W. And Up Academy's just going to hit them with their wallets. Just go in with every ultimate that they have in the books. But if they can keep that EMP door, that's going to be huge. They can snowball so easily now onto second. And in this time, Charon's also gotten another Coalescence in that fight. So for T1W, basically throwing everything in the kitchen sink, like you mentioned, into that fight and not getting any kills whatsoever, that is so risky. But actually, they want to go for this. They want to stall.
I'm here for it. Let's see if they can force out an ultimate here. That's the big thing they're looking to do. 6 members are here. This is a real push from T1W. This is not something that's faking. The bag being pushed out, and they're forced to pop ultimates. Coalescence comes out. Transcendence out of Physics. They're trading support ultimates. EMP is here for T1W, and they're going to make Up Academy fight tooth and nail for this, but they're not. They refuse to use the ultimate.
They're buying back in.
No.
Oh, no.
What are you doing?
Oh, they bought back in. Seawave desperate. I mean, that was so scary for Up Academy there.
They thought they had it.
Credit to T1W for coming back in. I thought that fight was completely done, but T1W comes back in, and they get the not only ultimates out of Up Academy, they get the fight win, and that was absolutely huge. And Up Academy don't really have a lot to work with in this next fight door, and they've only got 30 seconds.
That's it. Up Academy tried to call the bluff. T1W showed him who was boss. Up to the high ground they go. Is it a fake this time? No. A teleport straight back in. Death Blossom available. Push Sigma away. The health bars are low here for T1W. The knife edge of the fight continues.
Charon's down!
No! Night God's found the critical pick! And now it's just lurking. Looking for a target to land this pulse bomb onto. Make sure not to die to the bomb. Drop mines on point. T1W, they might have done it. Kaylee's in though! And Kaylee's got a Death Blossom. 3 players remain. Overtime ticking down though. They're nervous to step off the point. They're nervous to make a move, but there are still remaining members of Up Academy. This fight is far from over. Overtime ticking down. The wick is burning. Pops the EMP. It's only on the 1 player. Up Academy do have the close response. This is not over for T1W. They're gonna have to pop.
They didn't kill Seawave. They didn't kill
Seawave in the fight.
But they didn't kill Seawave either. Seawave has EMP as well, and the fight, it just turns around. Somehow, some way, Up Academy brought that back from the brink with My Kaylee's double on that Death Blossom door. What on earth was that?
It was massive is what it was. T1W thought they had him dead to rights. They made the push forward, lost the coordination, and now they're going to pay for it. Into the back line goes Seawave. And this is it. T1W know that there's an EMP here. T1W know that their ultimate's up for Up Academy. They have positioned themselves such that they can avoid as much as they can. The Brig is here to escort the Zenyatta, but I'm not sure if Shield Bash reaches this range. Seawave's just waiting for it. There it is! Pops the EMP, catches onto Physics. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Make sure no Transcendence is in tow. Night Guy looking for a pulse bomb target on the side. Kaylee cleaning up in the back line here for Up Academy, who make the push in. They have 2 support ultimates in tow, so this fight is going to last a long time. First pop in the Coalescence, trying to push even further are Up Academy. My Kaylee continues to clean up in the back line, though, and they'll get a Sigma as well to their death toll. ZXZ still has 1 more ultimate should they need this to work, but T1W has so little to re-engage with. The mines have got to make it happen with the backline going down. My Kaylee just looks furious on the Reaper.
I mean, Mike Haley has been the star of this push right now for Up Academy on this offense, taking names, gets another kill, and that should be enough for Up Academy to take this point here, Door, with the Death Blossom just finish off everything.
Make it count. A minute 44. They will equalize after a disastrous point A for Up Academy. We're heading into round 2 for Volskaya.
I mean, if Mike Haley doesn't hit that Death Blossom on A, there is no shot they win this. This is a T1W win. We go to next map, but Mike Haley clutches that out so nasty, and somehow T1W goes from almost full holding up to having a smaller time bank than they did, and some fantastic coordination from Academy. That last engage, or the first engage that they had on second, where the EMP comes out, Mike Haley TPs onto the supports and just insta-kills both of them. Fantastically coordinated play coming in from Up Academy, and some really clutch genes coming in from Mike Haley.
That's everything you want from your star DPS line. C-Wave hasn't even had to show up on the Hans, though. He has been targeted down very well by T1W. I mean, even when it was on the defensive side, C-Wave was just not having a good time. T1W is on him, making sure he couldn't get anything done, and rightfully so. But they've turned him into a target, and Kaylee has stepped up to really fill that role while his other DPS is being constantly harassed.
Academy here on this defense going to be opting in again for their double shield look with the spam. T1W keeping more so towards that dive look with the Hammond. Going to be opting in for the Mercy, which tells me that there's a potential for an echo of their own on their offense if that's going to be able to stick. But that means you don't have a Brig, and if this gets a little bit scary in terms of healing, a little bit worried. Not a lot of healing on this composition, Door, if that Mercy sticks.
I mean, they want it for the res. It's pretty clear, right? It prolongs the push. What?
He messed up his...
I understand. I understand, Konobi, but this is Contenders. We're not supposed to do that. That's just time off the clock. Hey, they're down to 1 to 2 fights. It's kind of where they were anyways. They need to get there quickly.
Please, please, please. No. This isn't real. This isn't real. This isn't real. Door, we're in a simulation. We have to be. There's no way he did that twice in Contenders China, where you are on your last legs. You do that. Oh, and Akita goes down to C-Wave. What is happening, Door?
Third time's the charm?
No, don't do it again, please. I couldn't handle it.
He is just not going that direction. I mean, this dive is less than stellar, but they have isolated the Orisa Kaylee and offered down. Where did this come from? What? Where did that come from? This is peak T1W.
This team, man. This team is
2 times, and then you perform the perfect engage. There is no in between with this team. Up Academy have equalized and are actually better now, but the spawns are good for T1W, and they're gonna get there a lot faster.
Dude, this team, I can't. There's something about this team, but T1W coming back in. 19 seconds is all they have left. Pulse Bomb on lock for Night God. We know how good they are. Can they make some magic happen with the Door?
I've seen a lot of magic so far in this game, Kenobi. If you could call it that. And you know what, T1W, they've been giving me a lot of it. Popping that immortality field. Night God's in the back line. They're in a great position here to try and make the push. Night God's taking it upon himself to win this point over. That's a second. That's a third pick to the Tracer. Looking for his counterpart, and he's going to finish it off with a fourth. Just the Orisa left to hold here for Up Academy. And Night God's going to add another one onto his gun.
I said Night God needed to make some magic happen, and he does exactly that, and you mentioned it, taking it into his hands. That's exactly what they needed, because Zabag had the worst start to this map I think I possibly could have imagined, and T1W are given an extra life here of 25 seconds. Up Academy, they'll have so many ultimates to stop this. I mean, it's going to take a miracle again from Night God to try and make this happen.
And if there's anybody here who can deliver us a miracle, it's Night God. Let's be fair to ourselves. T1W are going to come in with not much. Up Academy have a moment to charge those ultimates. The Dragon Strike. Okay, that's a recall forced out for blinking off of the map for Mike Haley. The edge of the map is just calling them right now. Gravitic Flux is in, though. That's a one-man Gravitic Flux from off. Not the most value you'd expect from Up Academy. And again, Ion playing Evil Toaster, sitting in the corner, is somehow alive. Dropped down to just a shade of HP. But the fight isn't over for T1W. They're in with their own rights, but these DPS have got to find picks, and Z-Wave is just not letting them have it.
Yeah, C-Wave Zenyatta, this is the classic right now, and he's taking names right now and taking arrows to the heads of T1W, and T1W stopped on third. But given how they started their second attack, you're definitely taking that to the bank.
I hate to make Zabag relive it, but when we were, I love that we got to spectate the second one, because he sat there at the edge and he contemplated. He's like, I'm gonna line this up just right. Takes a second. still sends it into the drink.
Dude, I can't believe that happened twice. Oh man.
I love this
Shout out to
team.
the observers. Shout out to the observers for like, yo, maybe we should see if he's gonna do it again. It's gonna be really good content.
Look, T1W have done nothing season after season but provide us with content. Whether or not they're winning or losing, T1W are, I think, inarguably the most fun team in Chinese
The
Contenders.
most entertaining team we've ever seen in this region, 100%. The amount of just like kicks you get from watching T1W is compared to no one else, and Up Academy have their win condition set for them here. T1W, again, sticking to their composition. Luckily, Zabag is on the defense now, so he can't send himself into the drink, I hope.
Whoa, don't say stuff like that.
knock on wood.
Well, I can't take this.
Dude,
this
even
too
the observers
seriously
are like, yo.
Yeah,
they're
maybe?
looking at him. They're like, yo, what if he does it again?
Oh my god. All right, Up Academy. Let's see if they can match a minute 42 on the clock, and they're coming back with the 6-man comp. Zabag does just evacuate the high ground, this time not into the water. They back away. Swaps are coming in from Up Academy. It looks like they don't want this look.
I think this is actually smart as well, because on defense you have a lot of good angles to bowl through against the competition like this, and they're actually just going to go back to the double shield. I like this look. You have some time to play with. They know they want to play it a little bit more slowly, and you have some poke available to your composition. And the thing about T1W's composition is they can't really take space away from you on a double shield composition like that. Hammond doesn't really do that.
No, they have to just wait for Up Academy to make a singular misstep and then dive on it. Hope they're all coordinated enough in that moment. No.
I saw it.
No. No.
No!
No.
It's not real!
In fact, this is not real. This is not real life, Kenobi.
I can't believe he died.
That's the fight. They don't have a main tank. That's it. Up Academy are gonna cap A with time to boot. Like, there's not even ult charge. Up Academy aren't even ahead. The bag is back. I mean, this is painful, and it's gonna give them more ultimate charge. This is gonna turn into snowball potential for Up Academy because, oh, I mean, what are you gonna do? Not contest A at this point? And that's a late death going on to the supports. What is Physics doing back here? Lord knows. Charon cleans it up. Up Academy are coming with 2 support ultimates and a pulse bomb. T1W have 1 EMP, and they better make it count.
I mean, the EMP makes this drawable here, Dor, but if Up Academy, even like a certain faction of their members are able to dodge it, this should be a fight win for Up Academy. And remember, they just need that single tick.
I mean, if either supports dodge it, Academy already finding a pick onto the bag, and that is never a good omen for T1W. And they come. EMP on.
Okay, they got the rally off. Got the rally off.
The support. ZXZ does pop it just in time, but there's a chance here for T1W. There's always a chance. Physics working up towards the Transcendence. Bins goes down, though, first, and they've got to get to charging the Transcendence just in time. Keeps T1W alive. Not got now with the pulse bomb. Where are you looking, bud? This Tracer has 1 chance. Do not C9 this point, for the love of God, T1W. Up Academy pushing in. So much time left on the clock. And with the mines down on point, there's a no man's land directly in the center here. Nearly up. T1W re-engage with the rally of their own. Charon immediately burns it down, though. Up Academy might just do it. They've got to clean this up, though. Amplification Mage is going to give them a new shot at the point. Ion, living with just 60 HP, is kept alive by the heroic support line. Charon is pushing this one across the finish, and Up Academy are going up 2-0.
Up Academy 2-0 here against T1W.
The bag 0-3 against the water.
Dude. I mean, I don't want to. Here's the thing. I don't want to like be mean or like. But that it's just.
Bad.
It can't happen, man. Like, you can't do that twice. You like, fool me once, okay, that's fine. Fool me twice, shame on me. Like, it was just. It sucks because Zabag is also, like, we've seen him be, like, a really good player in the past.
I mean, yeah, this was, like, Team Cat's main tank. When Team Cat was, like, making their
good.
Just
They got
ridiculous run.
second.
Yeah, in everything. And only to Team CC, reminder, like, this is when Team CC was around. So, this tank can hold up, but he is just having...
The Hammond is... I think the thing is that the Hammond is just not...
I mean, he's caught the brunt of the T1W curse. Yeah. Is I think, no.
We're getting a replay of it, dude. Oh, no. Observers.
Well,
How
they
could
put it in the replay package?
It's also really tragic because Night God has to, like, bring this one back from the brink as well. Like,
Night God was muscling it that time, yeah.
It is just... It feels like it's just a comedy of errors. Come on, dude. Stop. At this point, it's not even us. At this point, it's not even really us. The observers are doing more damage to Zabag than we ever could.
Dude,
But yeah, I mean,
I really hope Zabag's mental is like solid. It's like
you've got to have a mental iron, like an iron mental.
It's errors you shouldn't be making, but it's also errors like you have no choice but to just try and laugh off. Like there's no amount of coaching that's gonna fix that. It's just like I messed up. It happens, and it happens a little bit more often to T1W.
Gotta shake it off. I mean, you still have another map to play, so you still got that. It is reverse sweepable for T1W, but man, oh man, are they going to be kicking themselves? Because remember, they almost full held that map too. Like that map went from being like, if you looked at like a win probability meter, it was like 99% T1W to like 50% T1W when they capped, to like 0% when Zabag like died the third time there in the water. So it's just been a steady decline for T1W's win probability in that map.
I don't know. I was done. Like I checked out when I saw the bonk go onto this bag. I was like, it's over. He's got. He doesn't
I didn't think he was gonna die. I thought he was gonna live, but
no.
Guess not. Guess the whip shot's too powerful.
This tragedy continues. This Greek tragedy continues in a couple moments, ladies and gentlemen. T1W, maybe the team that juxtaposes themselves the most of all, is going to be coming up for a map number 3. Look, they're looking pretty good. They've had good moments. That was a fantastic full sky up by every measure except for balls thrown into the water. So, like, outside of that, I do think this team's looking more coordinated than they have in the past. I do think that's the best chance they're going to get. They get one more map to do it. It's coming up in just...
Hey, just what do you think you're doing, you scientist? Is this what our tax dollars are going to? Well, enough of your tomfoolery. We need you on the battlefield, so put down those beakers and suit up. That's more like it. Looking good for a couple of scientists. To suit up yourself, all you have to do is create your Battle.net account, link it to your YouTube account, and then tune in to our Contenders broadcast during October to earn May and Winston Contenders skins. After that, you too can harness the power of science to zap, freeze, and pummel your way to victory. Yes, pummel. Like all scientists should. So get experimental and get watching Overwatch Contenders today.
All right, now that everybody's dried off, the bag is no longer wet from all that water you're drinking. We're getting ready to hop into a map number 3. I mentioned it before. Can't rag on them too much. This is honestly the best that we've seen T1W look all playoffs. And clownery aside, meta innovation from T1W aside, it's looked good. It has genuinely looked good from them 90% of the time, and they're almost there.
Yes,
if you look at the caliber of teams they're playing against, right? Time Resume, they got pretty wiped by outside of the first map, which again was a Lijiang that they were very good at winning. And then you take it into this map, and you're like, okay, you know what? They're holding their own against Up Academy, a team that is arguably, stronger than Time Resume. We haven't actually seen that matchup yet, but on paper, better, and they're holding their own. It continues to go upwards. Blizzard World's got to be the place up. It is now or never. This is it. This is T1W's last chance at making a mark before Overwatch 2's last chance for T1W to solidify their legacy, to break the curse, to do anything here in Chinese Contenders, and it is on this map.
Yeah, this is where the reverse sweep needs to begin right here for T1W, and Blizzard World is going to be the map we're going to. And Door, I mean, what happened yesterday when we saw Blizzard World with T1W? There were 2 C9s in one map. So hopefully, they've gotten those out, they've gotten the jitters out, and we're going like in game now. And the thing about this is that for T1W, okay, they're picking a map where they're 1-3 on, and Academy is not lost.
Better than yesterday. Better than yesterday.
Better than yesterday.
They were like 0-5 on the map they picked then. This is... I'll take it. Honestly, and again, T1W doesn't have a winning record this season. So, you can't expect them to have a winning record on any map.
The thing about this as well is that, T1W, we were talking about, the mental thing, because Volskaya, let's be frank here and call a spade. They should have won Volskaya. Volskaya should have been theirs. They should have absolutely won that map, but they just weren't able to do so, and now they're going to be on the defense at the start of this for T1W, going to be running with that Hammond composition. Again, seems like this is what they try to tend towards more so than anything else, and interesting that we're going to be seeing Akide going to be on that. Okay, I was going to say it's going to be weird if Akide's not given, a pocket or something, but Tori is going to be switching over to that Ashe, so it gives a little bit more... Well, okay, Akide's going to be on the Hanzo, but the same thing applies where it gives a little bit more, survivability for these long-range hit scans to move forward, and he can deal a little bit easier with Sealer.
And dealing with Sealer is no small task, but they have gained the high ground. That's a great dive by Zabag. Actually, textbook stuff to gain them space, and again, Zabag... It's either good or it's bad. There's no in between, so that was what you're looking for. Akide also cleans up and out of position, Sigma and off. This is pretty tough for Up Academy. They've only got Ion to really hold space to them. T1W are very hesitant to move forward right now.
Yeah, I mean, that was really good from, all things considered, T1W, and here comes the dive again. Nice pile drive from Zabag.
It's good stuff to engage the fight, and T1W actually, with all their positioning, have completely wrapped around Up Academy. So this fight is far from over, but they should be able to clean it up considering their positioning at the beginning of the fight was so good. Ion trades 1L, but that's not looking too hot for Up Academy. Losing your Sigma at the start of the fight really isn't the way you want things to go, and they are wisely retreating off the point here, and it's going to give them at least one more shot at recontesting, but I'm not sure it's with 6. Mike Haley, though, just start to even up the numbers.
Yeah, the Brig and Bap are still alive, and they've been chain healing off each other, and here comes the Ant Matrix with a lot of damage and healing that's going to be pumped out, and T1W are going to be stopped here as Zabag goes into the drink this time as a reset, but seems to really love the water still.
He gets a pass, but that one does go in the compilation. Yes. That's it's fair enough. T1W still looking good, though. That was maybe one of the quietest pushes I've seen that looked so deadly. I mean, they had everything there, just gave them a little bit too much time with ZXZ and Charon. Not quite decisive enough, but... nevertheless, not a bad push. They got a lot of ultimates up, and they're going to have a lot to make this push happen. It's just a matter of when do they want to go for it. Push does start eventually. That,
Off is on the Hammond right now, so just to try, they're just trying to get back to the point really quickly. Physics is so close to dying. Has to force trance.
I think you're okay with that. T1W were planning on engaging anyways here, so they do turn it into an engagement, which is exactly what you need it to be. That Transcendence did look rough, but all in all, not the worst thing we've seen them throw out. Now, with the Orisa on one side of the field and Ball on the other, they need to make space, but Vince is doing an excellent job of juggling the aggro from either side, and it does look like T1W are going to cafe here.
Yeah, and I think that trance was actually really good from Physics specifically, because you can't, if Zenyatta dies there, you don't win that fight. Yeah. There's no way the fight is going to be able to happen, and it gives a lot of sustainability for T1W to just move forward and start to aggress onto the rest of Up Academy, who are a little bit more of this immobile composition. We're seeing a lot of ultimates come in. Nice dragons from both sides, but Akita gets the better end of it, it looks like.
I was honestly 50% sure Benz was about to eat a Dragon Strike. He was really close to it.
He might have. If there's anyone who can, it is going to be Benz.
guy's just ridiculous. And now the high ground just belongs to T1W. It's such a good position for them.
It's also so hard for Up Academy with the composition that they are rocking right now to like try and take this away because they're on an Orisa composition and the shields get melted by like Hanzo, by Sigma, and by all these characters. The bag's going into the back line. Supercharger popped and he is going to get absolutely obliterated, but through all this, the cart is still moving, so like, yeah, Supercharger is out and you take control back of high ground, but cart progress has still been made a little bit for T1W.
Yeah, Mike Haley immediately contests. I like this by Up Academy, actually. This is like pretty textbook stuff as for how you want to retake this. C-Wave, though, comes in, picks off both the supports, and now high ground belongs to Up Academy. The momentum is shifted.
Yeah, I think that was a really good decision, you know, snowballing that kill onto Zabag, knowing that they can just walk to high ground because they have an advantage. Then they just basically take down T1W with a really quick rotation and Ant Matrix, and now high ground is theirs. They can control this a little bit more easily. They just do still have to be careful of these engages from Zabag, because if you step out of line once, you got Nikon and Nikita there to follow up.
It's really the big way to win the fight. Nikon blinks by, and great positioning by Mike Haley to actually watch that one position. Doesn't quite warrant them everything they needed, as T1W still want to contest this high ground, but they're doing it from so far, right? They're waiting for a pick from Akide, but considering the double shield on the other side, it's very hard to expect any of those arrows to hit home.
We're seeing Mike Haley dueling with the other Tracer, Night God, and Mike Haley both use their recalls. They also have Pulse Bomb available to them. And Physics with the Transcendence again, that's going to be a key ultimate in this next fight, because Up Academy don't really have anything to match that sustainability.
Oh, that's a scary dragon. Oh, no. Big trance by Physics, but, I mean, you hate to see it forced out. Now it is a guaranteed flux for off. I mean, this is going to land, and it's going to hurt. Lands just under the Sigma. Fortunately, most of T1W are actually able to avoid that. But, you know, considering the Transcendence was gone, that is a... You're counting your lucky stars at that point. The cart has slowly progressed to the end of the point as well. Up Academy, we need to end this fight pretty quickly. There's a bag out of the way. It's difficult for T1W to make progress again.
Ooh, Mike Haley unfortunately whiffs on that Pulse Bomb, but he's going to be able to take down Physics anyway, and this time bank is starting to dwindle down here for T1W. Dragon Strike committed from Akide, and I think you have to reset here if you're T1W. You don't want to continue fighting this. This is just... I mean, okay, well, if Akide's just going to log Mike Haley, and here comes the Flux.
Karon trades it back, though, and again, Karon understands when to fight these ones back. Up Academy spawn significantly closer. We have to remember that. It is literally outside their door right now, so unless T1W win a convincing fight, this cart's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, a lot committed there from T1W, and it really doesn't get anything. It gets a couple of kills, sure, but you do get a little bit of positioning. That's the other thing as well, and Mike Haley dealing up here with Night God. That Tracer tree, the TBT could be incredibly impactful for this next fight.
Drops the Tracer low. Into the back line goes Mike Haley, looking for the engagement, and Up Academy are going to give it to him from the front line. Karon again taking the fight into his own hands, turning into a DPS and taking down Bins. They have more ultimates yet. Up Academy are going to come up with a dragon.
Ooh, that's big, no rally.
That's a big pick. No rally available. ZXZ gets taken out of it, but T1W again lacking an engagement here.
But they do get the rally out, which is big because that means the armor isn't going to be there for this next fight. But when you look at Mike Haley, he's got that Pulse Bomb on lock. C-Wave has a Dragon Strike as well to zone members off the card if they need to. But Akide has the same thing to be able to push the members of Up Academy off of that high ground if they need to.
All right, they've got the touch. They're making sure that not what happened yesterday is going to happen here, but they will walk into the Halt Dragon. Traded out for one. Mike Haley into the back line. Now Akide's got a flank, but is now being sought out by Mike Haley. Doesn't get hit with the Griddick Flux, and does pick up another set of two. The Tory with the res, Pulse Bomb onto one. Haley's not able to get enough to stop this cart, and it's looking like T1W in overtime are going to push it past where their map ended yesterday.
Akide comes out of nowhere with a huge flank on the Hanzo, even kills someone in the middle of a Flux. Well played from this DPS player who we kind of see as like not really at the same level of Night God, but has been having some pretty decent moments here. In T1W now, given that second life, only a minute to move forward, and they're walking into an Ant Matrix here from Karon, which can basically stall their push pretty easily, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about Akide really like not being the highlight, but you're playing Hanzo against double shield. You have one job. And you know what, he's been breaking shields effectively and finds the one opportunity to split off to the side, gets a flank. You can see he's looking for another off angle here on the right. We'll throw a couple logs that are Sigma's way. And Up Academy aren't giving him any space to work with. I love those mines. This actually segments the Zenyatta away from the rest of the team, or rather the Sigma away from the rest of the team. As Up Academy are backed into a corner. Night God's Pulse Bomb has their name on it! Big immortality field. Amplification Matrix keeping the rest away off of it, but again, zoning dragons keeps them off their own Amplification Matrix. Back in with the recontest, and Akide still throwing arrows through this Amp Matrix is gonna finish off a fight going the way of T1W. The spawns are so much better for Up.
I mean, we've been zabagging on Zabag for a lot this series so far, but there it was a really well played. Mike Haley's still trying to trade this one back and forth, and actually has been managing to get a couple of kills that forces T1W back and gets time for Up Academy to come back and try and recontest this. And Dor, we're in overtime right now. T1W cannot make any mistakes.
I'm looking at physics right now. 25% away from a Transcendence. You cannot afford to let this slip. It needs to be perfect. Ion, how are you getting away with this? Lives! Bins is down. Transcendence isn't up for T1W.
Oh,
Night
God's
God's going big. Oh my God, it catches a log on the back, and Karma is something I can't say on this broadcast. And T1W, don't give a damn. They push it all the way there with all the swagger and style you can expect from T1W.
I mean, that just proves to me that T1W is the most entertaining team. In overtime, you 1v1 the Tracer, give him the bag, and then get lugged. I mean, this team, and this is on their last life as well in the tournament. They need to, what absolute swagger, like you talked about coming out from Night God there at the very end. T1W get all 3 points.
I love this team. I told you, it hurts to watch them fail because we love them so much. Like, this is like a parental disappointment kind of thing. But Night God, you've redeemed yourself. That's the clip for the night. That's all you need. You can leave the season happy now. But they will get a chance to put up a defense. And honestly, it won't even have to be a stellar one. It's just got to be good enough to stop them from getting to the end of the map.
Really does. And let's take a little bit of a deep breath here, Dor, because we've seen a lot today during
we have
this series.
I feel like we've really bonded. I've gotten to know you better. We've really gone through some stuff, Kenobi. Chat as well. You know what? You guys, we'll count you in as well.
Closer to closer to
every last
everyone
one
in
of
chat as well, because we've all experienced this series of just masterful Overwatch together. And Up Academy going to be going back towards their double shield look here. I think it is their best look again, like I've kind of said. And T1W sticking with, I mean, Akide, keeping Akide on,
I like it.
Comfort on Hanzo is good. I think also Night God should be playing Tracer. That was a nice boop. If he would have, booped any of them into the ocean there, he would have redeemed himself from Volskaya. You trade 3 of your own lives for 3 of the enemy team's lives on Up Academy.
You know what's wild? I think I was fearing like a mouse slip and him letting go of the grapple tool more than I was the kills for Up Academy. Yet they get the push off safely. Zabag with the dive, a good one at that for T1W. Again, you never know what you're gonna get when you pull something out of the T1W hat, but right now it's looking pretty good. Night God in, forced out the recall by Mike Haley. Again, taking the duel, looking for revenge on his counterpart. Come on, teabag him, teabag him, teabag him, teabag him.
Yeah, let's go.
This is the Chinese Contenders gladiatorial combat we've been looking for. This is everything I could ask for.
Anything you can do, I can do better, and it looks like Up Academy is going to do better with their first attack here, taking it down. Man, I mean, once that TVT is over, there's realistically nothing stopping Mike Haley from just running across the rest of your team, and a very healthy time bank of about 5.5 minutes for Up Academy to start moving this forward. And remember that if they cap with anything over a minute, this is only going to be drawable for T1W.
Which is the last place you want to be against Up Academy or are looking stellar. High ground is not fully controlled by them, though. They have an amplification matrix that should solidify, and that's the big thing you're really looking at. That and the Dragon should pretty much guarantee them control because they don't have an amplification matrix to answer. And the Dragon of Akide is so much further away. It's guaranteed high ground control, and T1W, I think, are wisely backing away from this. There's no reason to contest it because the cart is still so far back. It still feels bad to give it away.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to give up any more space if you don't have to as well. And you actually have Zabag and Night God both going back to the cart, so that might pull some members of Up Academy away because T1W are still contesting right now, and this cart has not been moved.
Yeah, Mike Haley's doing a good job of just staying alive, right? That's your one job. Mine's going to the high ground, and it's T1W trying to take control of it. Throw a Dragon in, throw the mines in, beautifully comboed with one another. That was a textbook dive. Contest the low ground, force the Tracer off, dive high with a numbers advantage, chuck in just the right amount of ultimates, and take your reward.
Really good from Zabag as well, who had a really nice minefield that basically wouldn't let Up Academy retreat in any way, shape, or form, so they just had to kind of go into the Dragon's Maw right there, and Up Academy did get some progress on the cart, but C-Wave takes down Akide. That's resable? It is resable, so they do get that res, but that's a 30-second cooldown that T1W is not going to have for this next fight.
They're doing all right by themselves for the time being, but the fight is far from over. Ultimates are up for T1W. I love this. I love this from them. Aggressively using the ults. All the members of Up Academy are low, but the rally's going to pop them right back up to full HP. T1W now need to figure out when to respond. It is the timing of the Transcendence of Physics that needs to be perfect, and it is used to counter the Grid Flux. A little bit late into the cast, or a little early rather, so they're not going to get the full value of the Transcendence as an engagement tool, which means they're left high and dry without a support ultimate.
And the Transcendence was really only onto Physics. Not really anyone else got caught by that Gravitic Flux. Off gets taken extremely low. And Mike Haley gets absolutely obliterated by Night God there.
Still not a fight that's over yet. Night God's feeling good about himself, but you gotta be feeling a little bit better. I love this dragon, though. Cuts away this Sigma. There is still a amplification matrix for him to work with, though, so the high ground belongs to Up Academy here. Meanwhile, the cart is still pushing yet. This is a very difficult fight. T1W, though, have the surround. They have everything they want to take this engagement. Leave it. Mike Haley, he gets right back to him. This is the 1v1. Oh my god, he's crazy. He's going insane. Look for another. And
they made him angry. He made him angry, Dor. Mike Haley is angry right now. This Tracer is playing on another level currently, as Up Academy is going to take this second point with ease and have such a high time bank to work with. Get him again. Get him again. Yeah.
Oh my god. This might be my favorite match that I've gotten to see this season. It might remain as such.
Oh, they hadn't capped, actually. Oh, well,
they get it.
Physics was just contesting there. Loli Zenyatta versus a Brig. That's not a matchup that usually ends up working out well for the Zenyatta.
Alright. What else do we got? Night God and Kaylee have put on a show.
Oh!
Now we'll trade out Vince for Kaylee.
Logged.
No bags to follow that one off, but I don't think you need it. It feels very personal between the Tracers, this duel.
Oh! Good halt, and they actually don't get the damage. It was so close, but they know exactly where this Hanzo is at this moment, so they can basically play around that knowledge.
Yeah, they find another halt. Fortunately, it doesn't connect to Kide. He's able to trade it out eventually with off down. Team really doesn't have too many legs to stand on. Once the bongo is gone, T1W are going to make the push back, and for their sake, I hope they can hold on to the Transcendence when they do.
Dragon Strike just to try and zone members off. Mike Haley takes down two! Takes down Night God by themselves and has the pulse bomb ready and loaded. Sticks it onto Physics, who has to trance.
Pop the trance, they use it for an engagement. Again, T1W finding the coordination we haven't known them for. They back away, though. Decide it's better to wait for the spawns. Use the dragon to buy some more time, but that's all it's going to do. Buy them time. No picks have come out for either side yet. The Griddick Flux, though, does throw them up, and down goes Bins, the bag with him. No tanks left for T1W, and Up Academy rapidly approaching the end of the map. We said the last thing they wanted to play for is a draw, but they might just have to. Up Academy at the finish line. As long as there's not a C9 here from T1W, they will at least get a contest. Kaylee's in, 2 members left, make it just the ball, and it's gonna go over regardless of whether or not T1W care. Up Academy are playing to win.
And this is now only drawable here for T1W. 2 minutes and 15 seconds for Up Academy and Door. If we call back to the start of that round, Up Academy didn't need 2 minutes and 15 seconds to get their first tick. They got it extremely quickly, so if I'm a T1W fan, I'm a bit scared right now, and again, even if you hold, it's only a hold for a draw.
To their credit, I think T1W have made fans of all of us at this point.
Yes.
And, like, you hate to see them go, but you love to watch them leave. And now they get one more shot of this defense. What are they offering us up? I've got to see this. Night God's back on the Tracer.
They're not going to change anything.
No shot.
They're sticking to their guns. We live by this comp. We die by this comp. Kide, I mean, has been having a pretty decent performance on the Hanzo, it has to be said, but just unfortunately, Mike Haley, that last round, took Night God to the cleaners. I mean, that
to his credit, it was 2-2 in 1v1s. It was
yeah,
easy.
but I mean,
you know, the rest of the team, I mean, Kaylee was cleaning house, so yeah, definitely doing it there. All right, T1W. You know, Kenobi, when they say go out in a blaze of glory, I think this is what they're talking about.
The most entertaining way we could see this end possible is we're gonna finally, the doors are gonna count down, and Up Academy running with their double shield composition. This is their bread and butter, what brought them to that 3rd seed. And I think we're gonna see Mike Haley probably switch over to that Tracer. It makes sense, and that duel versus Night God that he's going to have at the start of this round.
Oh, it's on the horizon.
Could make or break T1W's defense.
Night God has nobody else on his mind right now than this Tracer. Does back away to point, so actually T1W playing very smart and conservative, right? They want to just give away space. They're okay with playing that as long as the bag
dead.
doesn't die. No. And this might be it. Mike Haley up on the high ground. There's nothing he tests the off angle. The Orisa's already up in position. And the season starts, or ends rather, just as it started, with the bag dying first. Up Academy, take them out 3-0, and T1W win our hearts, but lose the game.
Yeah, it was not unentertaining. You know, let's put it that way. It was definitely an entertaining way for T1W to go out, but unfortunately, their time in Overwatch 1 has come to an end. Which is, and it kind of goes out in a little bit of a whimper, which is kind of sad for a team that's had so much history in Chinese Contenders. You know, going back to Miracle Team 1, a lot of good players coming from the T1W organization. You know, Crystal coming in from there, a lot of the LA Valiant players as well coming from this roster and this organization. And we're going to see the map set 3-0, clean sweep for Up Academy.
And honestly, all credit to Up Academy. That looked, I think, the shakiest that we've seen them in recent memory, which is a little worrying, but T1W, I do think, stepped it up, which I think is the big thing to highlight here. I mean, Up Academy, we kind of expected them to be a bit ahead in this one, but, you know, as T1W goes out, I've got to, you know, give it to them. The team played very well, all things considered. That was the best performance we've seen out of a lot of the players. The bag did have highlights, despite, you know, having some lowlights at the same time. You throw in Night God's Tracer performance on top of that. This team has done a fantastic job. They put on a great showing for the end of the season. It's Up Academy. We're going on.
Yeah, and Up Academy versus Time Resume matchup looks spicy, Dor. That looks like a good one that we're going to be getting. I think that's definitely the best matchup we could have gotten out between these four teams that we saw today. But we're going to be looking at our player of the match, and it is going to be Ion, who I think has basically, like, in this matchup in particular, I was really worried about, like, their Orisa composition, and this matchup, I think his Orisa looked pretty good. It was something that I was really worried about for this team, but I think if Ion can continue to play this way, it's going to look so much better for them going up against Time Resume.
Yeah, he's really coming into his own, and that's what it feels like, right? He's taking control of the team, the communications are getting a lot better, and all of a sudden, this team looks like one that can really compete, even without Jihoon, who has been looking incredible. They've got such a long way to go, though. We went through 2 long matches ourselves, Time Resume versus Courage, which ended swiftly for Time Resume, followed by T1W versus Up Academy, which ended in a very, very slow death for T1W.
1,000 paper cuts, right? That's how it was for
I don't know about
T1W.
Yeah, paper cuts are tough. Let's take a look at the bracket, though. Here's that match we were talking about before, Time Resume versus Up Academy. Again, a big question mark. We have not seen these teams play in bracket for a while. And so, you know, you ask questions like Time Resume's looking really good. Up Academy, despite Ion really stepping up, I think looked a little shakier than they normally did, right? There's a couple ultimate uses, especially on control point, that we were really questioning. And there might just be the cracks in the armor for Time Resume to break in. We've also got Team Chaser versus Billy, though, which is, I mean, always a barn burner.
Yeah, that's been the rivalry. Not only through this season, but this entire year. It feels like the rivalry between Team Chaser and Billy Gaming has kind of just colored itself all over the Chinese Contenders seasons this year. And tomorrow we're going to see with the schedule. We have Team Chaser versus Billy Gaming starting us off. That's definitely a barn burner. And moving into Time Resume for Up Academy, also going to be a barn burner. So a lot of good games tomorrow that we're going to be seeing. A lot of great Overwatch, I think.
Yeah, and you know what? It's been quite the ride. Up Academy's coming in at the last second. Time Resume's coming in at the last second. Everyone's trying to get their ticket in at that final 2 spot. But you know what? Billy and Team Chaser's got to duke it out first. And it has been so much fun getting to cast this. But I mean, as for myself, Kenobi, you get to continue on for a couple more days. But that's what I've got. That's me for this Chinese Contender season. I couldn't think a better way to take it out than, I mean, just good old classic Chinese Contenders with T1W.
You'll remember this game for the rest of your life. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just like the intro wave game last season. If anyone remembers how that one went, it was very much the same way of going out. But nevertheless, it's been an incredible season. Thank you all so much for having me. Thank you for filling in with me, Kenobi. It has been just the best time. And I wish you guys the best of luck. You guys continue watching tomorrow. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow Kenobi and I. We'll be tweeting all about it at the same time. Make sure you don't miss out on any of the Tier 2 Contenders action. things are finishing off the next 2 days, though, and you guys aren't going to want to miss it. So we'll see you then.